Look at that. Good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Happy to be here with you on a Friday in what was probably it's one of the longer weeks I can remember, certainly. But we did make it, and we are going to cruise into the weekend. Great to be here with you this morning. Hope that you stayed dry and safe yesterday. My name is Woodsy. That is Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Good morning.
To my left, Benjamin R. Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Good morning, Benjamin.
Good morning, Woods. It is Friday.
I said it was Friday already.
I love it.
I love the Friday Open, too.
It differentiates the days.
It does.
Because sometimes the days all feel the same, like you're doing them over and over again.
I was waiting.
Speculating about the Padres outfield once again, every single day. Kind of like it's, Groundhog Day.
Go ahead. Groundhog Day.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day.
I hate it. I hate it so much.
You hate it every year.
I hate it every year. I can't stand it. I said 5 minutes ago, make sure we don't open with that stupid song from Sunny. Oh, you mother. I do not want to hear this. I hate it.
I got to say, after you left yesterday, Ben said, should we open with Sonny and Cher tomorrow? Maybe add the gurgle noise. And I go, start with Sonny and Cher like every other
radio
morning show
station.
in America.
Everybody.
It's okay to be different.
It's okay it's okay to go against the grain.
I will admit, this...
What did I tell you about your comedy? Remember?
I know.
What did I tell you?
I know.
No more comedy ideas from
Not
you.
allowed to.
Give me your mundane. Your mundane leads to conversations like we had yesterday about bondage.
Here's my mundane then about Groundhog Day. We're in San Diego. Like, the idea of predicting more winter is about
Stupid.
as completely opposite of what we are. So this really makes absolutely no sense as a holiday.
Hold on. It also doesn't make any sense as a holiday because an effing groundhog comes out and sees his shadow. That's why it also doesn't make any
And
sense
that's the
as
other
a
part
holiday.
that doesn't make sense. And if you really want to know, Punxsutawney Phil did not see his shadow. So early spring, congratulations to everyone in upstate Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and then Rochester, New York. Congrats.
The part that I never got was, so if he doesn't see his shadow, it's in early spring. If he sees his shadow, he gets scared. It's 6 more weeks of winter. But that would mean, like, if it was a blizzard that day, like a completely horrible day, you wouldn't see your shadow.
Correct.
Which means, early spring. So the worse the weather is that day, the earlier the spring is coming, I guess.
Yeah,
If it's a beautiful day. It could be 80 degrees and sunny. Groundhog sees his shadow. Oh, it's more winter. That doesn't make any sense to me. It should be the opposite.
It's very arbitrary. You know why? Because it's an effing groundhog that's looking at his shadow. And I don't know the idiot that came up with this bit, but I can't stand it. It drives me nuts every single year.
This is pitiful. 1,000 people
Stupid.
freezing their butts off waiting to worship a rat.
That's so true. I can't stand it. Every single year it makes me insane. Just put your little hands in my... I'm like... it just kills me. It just kills me. I wanted to start the show by... I texted the fellas last night. If you missed yesterday's show, it legitimately went down for me as one of my favorite and the best. There's one of the shows I'll be most proud of for the rest of my life. I went home and I watched the clips that Paulie posted of the thing that we did with the gurgles. We may replay that today because it was so funny. If you missed it yesterday, it's on social media, but many of you aren't on social media. We need to remember that. And then the clip of Ben, sweet, innocent Ben, man, explaining to me S&M and bondage and BDSM. And I just wanted to tell you both how uber talented you are. You're just, it makes coming to work so much more fun, to work with talented people that really, really are good at what they do and really, really care about what goes out over the airwaves. It's not your traditional sports radio conversation, certainly by any stretch, but I just watched it over and over, and I said to myself, it was this realization for me where I said, we are exactly what I have always wanted to be, where we are having fun, we get along, we have good chemistry, and you never know where the show's going to go. And that, to me, makes it the most exciting thing. You two are wildly, wildly, wildly talented and entertaining. So thank you for yesterday, because you both knocked it out of the park. The audience died. I mean, they died. People were... one of Paulie's basketball teammates said, I choked on my coffee yesterday listening to the movies that you guys did with the Gurgle. I had people DMing me about, Mr. Freak on a Leash over here, Ben Higgins. It was incredible. Yeah, it's just weird to me that there's a...
Well, it shouldn't be weird. I mean, like, he's like a submissive. You've seen that, right? What? Like S&M, that, in that subculture, you have like a dominant and a submissive, and there are people who like to be ordered around or bossed around when it comes to their, play fantasies. That's a real thing. That's it's not even, that's like a healthy, sometimes psychological way you can separate. It oftentimes, like, powerful people, like CEOs, will enjoy,
oh my God,
like, not having control for a while in their life. I mean, I don't have any personal experience.
No,
with this,
that's what I would. You sound, because you're speaking as if you're the foremost authority on doms and submissives. He asked. I mean, to answer your question, yes, I
like to be informed on subjects.
We had a new I like in there as well, which I did not notice until last night. Somebody pointed that out. But the information was great.
I think you're overestimating my talent. I am simply a curious person who also likes to explain things to people. And it's pretty much all I do here.
It's funny. We talked about this the other day. So we were talking about kind of like our fatal flaws, if you will. Ben's is he really likes to explain things to people that, listen, take one look at me and you're like, oh, he knows about BDSM. I'm not a practitioner of it. I wouldn't be opposed at all, Hannah. But I also know in that relationship, she'd be the one grinding a heel into my throat. So,
I know that can be a bad quality. That's what know-it-alls, mansplainers. It's not necessarily an attractive thing to be an explainer. However, in my defense, I often find myself wishing other people would explain things to me that I don't understand.
All right.
If you just take a moment just to clear the air, just to make sure we're all on the same page.
Sure.
I like being on the same page.
I
like to be informed on subjects.
All right. Any questions that you'd like to ask of me that I could maybe me and Paulie can explain something to
I will let you know. I will raise my hand.
Okay, raise your hand
when I have a question and want something explained to me.
So we were talking about fatal flaws, and Ben's like, "Yeah, that's kind of mine. I'll explain things when really nobody asks." Now, I'm so glad that you do that, because it leads to that goal. You know what mine is? I told you this, and you started laughing hysterically. Mine is, it's in the same vein. I love to give recommendations. Giving recommendations is one of my favorite things to do.
Listen to this music. Watch this show.
Yes,
watch this
read
movie.
this book.
Read this book. Woods loves giving recommendations to people.
Taking recommendations is not my favorite. Again, no offense to anyone out there. If you have ever sent me a song, I haven't listened to it. I'm maybe 1%. It's probably egomaniacal. It's probably narcissistic. I don't think it's good. Anytime, hey, check out this band, I go, it's a weird thing. I have to discover it on my own, even if I'm way late to the party. But boy, how many times do I come here? Oh, you guys got to see this. Oh, you guys got to hear this. And everyone's
3 years old.
Everyone just kind of nods. Oh, yeah. It's my fatal flaw. And that's a little bit of mansplaining, but it's also like I refuse to take anybody else's guidance or...
Okay, so confession. And Paulie, you're kind of in on this too. We know this about you. And when Paul and I would like to do something on the show, we often have to team up and try to figure out ways to make you think you came up with the idea. Because we know if we suggest it, it's a non-starter. So Paul and I will often discuss, all right, this would be really good. How can we make Woods think it was his idea so we can actually do it on the show?
You just got to drop breadcrumbs around this topic, and then Woods will go,
Oh,
hey, what if we do this?
and you
Yes!
are like, yes,
That's a great idea,
Yes!
Woods.
son of a bitch, man, son of a bitch. I'm telling you. So, my wife Hannah and I have we have a shared playlist on Spotify that we started building. So our 10-year anniversary is on Sunday of the day we met in the 94.9 studio, and total lightning bolt, love at first sight type situation. We started texting and talking. She would not go out with me because I was too old. But she goes, she goes, let's do this. Here's some songs I like on Spotify. I'm going to add you to it. You add songs that I like. We can listen to each other's songs together, and we'll know kind of what our personalities are. Bro, I don't know that I've ever listened. I mean, like a couple of them, and I was like, well, this is terrible. Like, what am I going to do? I love this woman already. And I'm like, but then I'm calling her going, what did you think of this? What did you think of that band Crosses? What do you think of this? She's like, it's fine. It's okay. I don't know that I've ever listened to really a lot of it. And it's really one of my fatal flaws. But I feel like maybe it comes from a place of goodness, because if you recommended something to me and I hated it, you'd know it immediately when you ask, hey, what'd you think of that song? And I'm like, this is all right. It was okay. It's the worst part about me.
Yeah, Hannah says he skips all of my songs.
Every time. Dude, we'll be in the car. She'll go,
Monster.
put on our playlist. And I'm like, yeah.
Now, she's also familiar with the concept of make Woods think that it was his idea. And she describes it as thus. The man is the head, but the woman is the neck.
Yes.
And she'll lead you like, okay, get him to look over here because this is what I want you to do.
And you guys,
that's brilliant.
You guys do it to me. You guys do it to me as well.
And you have no idea until now.
This is amazing. This is like revolutionary. I feel like
you're constantly being managed silently in the background
by everyone in my life. It's so good, man. Holy crap, dude. I do. I'm sorry, babe. I'm sorry I skip all of your songs. I really, I can't even say I don't mean to. I absolutely mean to. I'm sorry. It's a fatal flaw. It's a personality trait in me where, again, I've had so many, you'll love this band. And I'm like, oh God. The anxiety I get, because if I've never heard of them, right? And I'm like, I got to click on this YouTube feed. I got to go listen to this band. I don't know, man. I'm sorry. I wish I was better. I'll try. That's all I can say is I'll try. Like,
will you?
I'll try. I will. I'm going to try to be better. I'm going to try.
You know what? I don't want you to change. You are yourself, and you're great just the way you are, Woods.
I hate this, dude, because it's so true about me. And I love your Ben-splaining. I love it. I ask for it because I need it. Like he had to explain to me yesterday how Super Bowl squares work. I don't know. I was like, what numbers do I get? Well,
don't get any
He's
numbers.
like, obviously, idiot. You want the ones with a 7 or a 3? And I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes
why?
sense.
Because a touchdown is 7 points.
Jeter says, is it only with music? Or, no, man, it's really about everything. It's like... It's movies, it's TV shows. Like the Craig Elston segment he used to do on our show. That I actually kind of enjoyed. But he even knew. He'd be like, Woodsy, close your ears. This one's not for you. You're right? Like he knew. Right. He's like, he's not going to watch this. Everybody knows that about
I try
me.
not to send you a ton of stuff. But
No.
you and I have we are in the same universe when it comes to our senses of humor.
Sure.
So I'm like, or even music taste or movies or whatever. It doesn't have to be just funny. But when I send you something, I legitimately am like, I know you would like this, but now I know.
You recommended something
deleted.
to me the other day that I am planning on watching, and it was it's an episode of how South Park was
it's a
written.
mini documentary. It's
Mini-doc.
like 45 minutes.
Now, I don't like South Park particularly because I don't like cartoons, but
I went and watched it again after we talked about it. It's called 6 Days to Air.
6 Days to Air.
And it's on HBO Max.
Okay, and they have 24 hours to get a whole show written.
Well,
and
they do it week by week. So it's They have 6 days to air. Airs on a Wednesday. Thursday is day one of the new episode that airs the following Wednesday. And there are times where they're like, they get to Monday and they're like, we've got 3 scenes done.
There's nothing. We are out of juice.
The creativity, I mean, those guys, whether or not you like animation or South Park in particular, the writers of that show are geniuses.
There's no like Basketball, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's the same guy.
Matt and Trey. Bill Hader's in this documentary because he was a writer for them for a while.
But I like the sheer panic.
It's the panic. It's the
creativity
of the minds.
Yeah, I love that. So that I will watch because that intrigued me because I can relate it to what we do because we do that a lot on the show as well. Like, what are we gonna do?
They feature a woman in their legal department that has to take every questionable scene or phrase or word that they have in the script and run it by the legal department and be like, yeah, you can't say blank.
Sorry, EST3. Animation, not cartoons. I don't particularly like animation, and I really don't particularly like Cartman's voice is what really got me off of the show the first time I watched it. The writing, again, is brilliant. The jokes, from what I heard, are funny. But I can't do it.
I don't think you're supposed to like it. The voice.
It's
not a likable voice.
But it's not. I can't watch it because of that. But man, holy crap, that was fun.
All right,
we're
underway. Let's take a quick break, check traffic. Hopefully everybody is safe out there. A little less rain today, although it's still wet out on the roadways. Kelly, we'll let you know what's up, and then we'll set the menu, including a giant trade that went down in Major League Baseball yesterday. It's Ben and Woods. Glad to have you with us on a Friday morning on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. I looked back at my phone and found like one example of managing Woods with Paulie and I. And I texted Paul last year, said I got an email about comedian Bert Kreischer coming to San Diego later this year. Is that something that we should set up? And Paulie said, oh my God, yes. Woods thinks he doesn't like him, but I think he may be the funniest comedian in the game. He would be a massive get. So at that point, it's trying to figure out how we can convince you, Woods, to change your mind on something without realizing that we're trying to get you to change your mind on something.
Now, that concert or show was back in, I want to say, October.
Yeah, it was sometime summer.
We did not obviously have Bert Kreischer in the studio, so you guys all know how that went when we pitched it. But, yes, that's one of those moments where I, as the younger and producer of the show, would say, guys, he's one of the biggest names in comedy on the planet. That would be a massive get. But Woods hasn't heard him, so he's not gonna.
I've heard him.
He's not gonna go watch it.
It's because you say, here's how it works. Go watch his latest Netflix special. And I'm like, no, I'm out. Right there you lose. We got a tweet from our beloved hillbilly boy himself. Chris Foster tweets, I stopped suggesting shows to Stephen Woods because he just says, pass. And then our other buddy Travis goes, me thinking back to all the songs I've sent, shaking his head, you son of a bitch. And I'm so sorry. And I'm literally the worst. I don't know what to say. I'm the worst. Just let's make it easy on each other. Just don't send me anything. Nobody send me anything. And
But you'll continue to make plenty of recommendations to everyone all the time.
And if you like them, great. If you don't, we just move on amicably. Oh, God. Well, I got something new to talk to my therapist about. Hey, why am I the world's biggest a-hole? All right? Oh, I'm so sorry to everyone out there. If you sent me something, I probably don't watch it. I definitely don't like it. And I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. That's all I can say. I'm just trying to be honest with you.
All right. It is the Friday edition of Ben and Woods. And obviously, coming up here in the first half of the program, we're going to discuss the big trade that went down yesterday. The Milwaukee Brewers sending Corbin Burns to the Baltimore Orioles for a couple of prospects and a compensatory draft pick. And I think obviously the big question here in San Diego among Padres fans is when you look at that price, is that something you wish A.J. Preller had done had he dipped into his stash of prospects? I guarantee you they could have beaten that. They could have beaten that package if they wanted to. Did they want to for a one-year rental for a pitcher who's going to command an insane salary on the free agent market? We'll talk about the big move in Major League Baseball yesterday. Obviously, we'll do our regular features, Take on Woods on a Friday coming up at 7:10. Don't do this in our 7 o'clock hour as well. Woods, you commented on Twitter about a story yesterday that I want to bring up as well. It's not a new suggestion necessarily, but it was getting some traction again yesterday.
It always does this time of year.
It's the idea of moving the Super Bowl from Sunday to Saturday. Instead of Super Bowl Sunday, why not move it up a day when there's already a week between the games, an extra week in between the conference championships and the Super Bowl? Why do
they get 14 days in between? They'll be fine with 13.
13 days is manageable. Why do we wait to have the big parties in the late afternoon on a Sunday when everyone has to get up and go to work the next day when we could just as easily do it on a Saturday, really enjoy ourselves, and then still have Sunday to kind of recover and get back going again? And I thought, why don't they do this? And
I was actually hoping you could come up with a couple of good reasons why they wouldn't do it. But I saw a couple of people responding, Adam being one of them. He brought up something, and I go, all right, well, we can talk about that tomorrow for sure, because I can't for the life of me think that this needs to continue at all on a Sunday.
And then we'll have our Writer Report in the 9 o'clock hour. We'll wrap up the late in the show. We will have one more guest this week, making it two guests this week, when Trevor Baptiste of your San Diego Seals will join us at 9:40. Now, for people who are not hugely following the Seals closely, what is it that makes Trevor Baptiste so special?
Think about the best anything that you know, the best. So in your mind, you're thinking Eddie Van Halen was the best guitar player in the world. Think about Manny Machado is the best third baseman I've ever seen.
Phil Mickelson, short game.
Trevor Baptiste is better at his job than anybody in the world is at their job. He's the best of the best on the planet Earth right now at his job.
One specific thing he does for the Seals.
He's literally the greatest of all time. He is.
It's like Paulie is the greatest of all time at putting in funny sound bites.
Yes.
On a show at the right time.
He's better at his job than Eddie Van Halen was at playing guitar. He's not a better guitar player than Eddie Van Halen. He's better at his job than Eddie Van Halen was playing guitar.
He's not better than Paul at putting in little sound bites.
Yeah, he's better. He's better than everyone. He's the literal best in the world today. And at one specific aspect, he is a fantastic player. When we got him, I screamed audibly because it was the number one thing that the Seals needed to win a championship. And we got it, and we're on the track. So our game is Sunday. It's 3 p.m. game. It's Military Appreciation Day. You can get your tickets at sealslax.com. I'm fired up. I'm fighting the crud, but I will be there. I will be banging on the glass. If you haven't been to a Seals game yet, it's electric. We, the show, are going to be out at a Seals game together here in a couple of weeks. We'll have more details on that as they get finalized. That's one you don't want to miss.
Johnny says in the chat, never heard of him. Pass.
Johnny, you son of a bitch. This is how it feels. This is how it feels. I got to tell you, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Not in the slightest. You son of a bitch.
We've all heard of Corbin Burns. I think that's where we start today with the big move that went down to Major League Baseball yesterday and whether or not the Padres should have gotten involved in those trade talks. Get to that coming up next. If you want to join us, maybe early phone calls as well on this topic. 833-288-0973.
Calls have been good this week.
Yeah, they have been good because we've had plenty of time without any guests or just one guest all week. So it's your turn out there, Tier 1s. Give us a call, 833-288-0973. It's Ben and Woods back after this on 97.3 The Fan. What did you guys think the general reaction to the Fan Fest announcement yesterday was? Pretty positive.
Yeah, I thought it was really positive, and I thought I also saw a lot of, well, man, after last year, I don't know if I can. That was such an S show, and I don't know if it's going to be like last year. Last year was insane. It was truly, truly insane. It was awesome. I loved it, but Paulie made a good point yesterday when he said, if you go down there with your expectations low, like everybody wants to leave there with a signed ball from Fernando and Manny and you
catch
Darvish
one of those
and,
gold seam balls and turn
walk
it
out
in
with
for
a jersey.
a jersey.
Yeah, everybody wants that. If you go in with low expectations, maybe some good things will happen. I would love to see you guys out at FanFest. We're going to be broadcasting
my best
live.
advice would be you'll see the list of players and coaches or whoever that will be there for the photo and autograph sessions. They're going to be long lines.
Yeah, they're going to be hugely long.
Disneyland. And pick one ride that you want to go on.
Yeah, pick one.
And if you get it, great. That's not guaranteed.
Correct.
But you're probably not going to get two. So just keep that in mind.
My takeaway, the memory that I will never forget from last year's Fan Fest was we were broadcasting live and had our little pop-up tent and our tables set up. And when Jake Cronenworth came by and the crush of people was so crowded, and it was right at the end of our show, and we had to get out at that point. And it was like there was no way to get out. It was like Jake was a beetle, and we weren't going anywhere until everyone had touched him or just gone by and had their moment with Jake Cronenworth. It was insane.
It was crazy, man.
Last year.
Crazy. Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be pretty crowded. I mean, I think the fever pitch of last year, hopefully we match it again someday, but I don't know, man. That was pretty special. I'm not going to be disappointed if it's not as crazy as it was last year.
I'm trying to remember. I think they gave out like 60,000 tickets last year, and I think they estimated about 30 showed up.
I feel like 70 came last year after giving out 60,000 tickets.
You can claim your 4 free tickets starting February 16th on the MLB Ballpark app. You just have to claim them between, I think, that day and the 19th of March.
Yep.
And once they're in your phone, you can go for free. That's not, you don't have to pay for anything. You just have to have a ticket in advance.
Yep.
All right, let's check traffic when we come back. Trade that went down yesterday. Certainly, if you're an AL East fan, it's going to impact the season. If you're an NL Central fan, maybe in a different way. And if you're a Padres fan, are you wondering why didn't the Padres pull off a deal like this? Get to that after Kelly's Traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by the San Diego Zoo. Guys might still find some scattered showers around parts of the county. Got a few problems in the North County. A spin out on southbound side of the 15 just past Villa Rancho Parkway. They're trying to get that moved over to the right shoulder. Also traveling on the South 5 coastline just past Cannon. Solo vehicle accident in the HOV lane. And on the northbound side of the 5, right before Tamarack, we have reports of another crash. This one, too, blocking the HOV lane. Eastbound 78 before Emerald, crash blocking the fast lane. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All February, guests 65 and older enter free at San Diego Zoo Safari Park. Enjoy the sights on the African Tram. Come face-to-face with tigers. Enjoy refreshments at Kajami Overlook. There's something for everyone.
So when I saw the news yesterday that the Milwaukee Brewers had traded Corbin Burnes to the Baltimore Orioles, there was part of me that wasn't surprised because, of course, the Milwaukee Brewers are known for this, as a very small market team, the smallest market team actually in baseball, I believe, when it comes to TV size. They can't really afford long-term contract extensions for players the caliber of Burnes. He was going to be a free agent at the end of this upcoming season, and it's very Milwaukee Brewers-like to get something for him before that happens. Still, when I actually saw it, you still can't help but be somewhat surprised. He's been an essential part of that team, division-winning team, playoff team generally for most of the last few seasons. There's an argument to be made that over the last, 5 years, he's been the best starting pitcher in all of baseball. You can certainly make that argument. I don't know that it's a definitive one, but he's right up there if you want to compare him with the best of the best. And I was still going, all right, this is definitely a big one, and I still feel somewhat surprised, even though you knew it could possibly be coming.
And I think if you're a Brewers fan today, maybe you saw that yesterday, and maybe you're just a little confused because you just spent some money on Rhys Hoskins, which, again, the deal that they gave Rhys Hoskins, I thought, oh, okay. I mean, Rhys Hoskins is a nice player, and I think I think he's a really good fit there in Milwaukee. So maybe they are trying to do something. And then you see that move yesterday and you go, it's a bit of a head scratcher. All the points you make are absolutely right, Ben. They're not going to ride the season out with Corbin Burns. I thought maybe deadline deal for him, but they decided to get rid of him now, move him now. Got a couple of good prospects back from the Orioles, and I had been watching a special on MLB Network, and I think it was Ken Rosenthal or maybe it was Morosi, talking about how the Baltimore Orioles are bursting at the seams with good prospects. Like, there's not enough playing time to go around at AAA and AA for all the prospects that they have. They are that replete with prospects. So they had to move guys. Now, they got this deal done without giving up, any of their major prospects. The two guys that the Brewers got back, man, they're 25 years old. They're 25 years old. These aren't 19, 20-year-old guys with oodles of control. There's 6 years of control for each guy, which is good. It's good. And so the deal as it went down yesterday, Corbin Burns for Joey Ortiz, he's an infielder, and then left-handed pitcher DL Hall, who was in the big leagues for 74 games last year. Yeah, I mean, they're good players. Ortiz is a former fourth-round pick, 25-year-old shortstop. He hit .212 in 34 plate appearances for the O's last year, slash 321, 378, 507 in AAA, though. He's got a ridiculous glove. He's defense first. So, yeah, he could probably crack Milwaukee's infield this year. And then Willy Adames, who is their shortstop now, he's a free agent in 2025, so maybe he's the successor to him. I think it's a deal for both teams that benefits both teams. But, man, Corbin Burns to the O's. The O's in the last 3 days have sold the team to private equity guys. And
we called them the happiest fans in baseball that day.
Yeah, the equity guys then came out with a statement and said, no, we're in it. We're going to make a run. And they go out and they pull off a trade like this. $15 million, $15.65 million for Corbin Burns, 1-year rental. I'm not... of course you see anytime another team does something, you go, we could have matched that. We could have done that. We all lived what the Orioles are living. We lived this for the last few seasons when Peter Seidler was at the helm here. We lived it. With the off seasons here were spectacular. Regular seasons were left a little to be desired, especially last year. But you look at this deal and you go, yeah, all right. I mean, you're bummed if you're a Brewers fan because you lost your A's.
If I was a Brewers fan and I just heard we traded Corbin Burns to the Baltimore Orioles, obviously there'd be the gut punch of losing Burns, but I'd go, ooh, the Orioles. Okay.
We got prospects.
We got some really good. Did we get Jackson Holliday? Who do we get? I mean, we probably didn't get one of their starters like Gunnar Henderson, but I mean, they've got really great prospects. And then when I heard the actual names coming back, I probably would have been, that's all we got for Corbin Burns, one of the best pitchers in baseball. However, as you kind of described it, DL Hall is kind of the interesting name here because he hasn't been really considered a top prospect. He is, in the last year or so, though, his stuff, guys like Eno have taken notice of DL Hall. And you look at Baseball America, and they were ranking best fastball in the system for the Baltimore Orioles, DL Hall. Best slider in the system for the Baltimore Orioles, DL Hall. Best changeup in the system for the Baltimore Orioles now, DL Hall. And the Brewers are going to convert him back to being a starter.
Yep.
They envision him as being, if not quite Corbin Burns, at least someone who can be a top 2-3 rotation type guy now for the next 6 years.
And cheap.
Cheap, as opposed to Burns, who's 1 year and expensive and leaving in free agency. So they see a lot of value in DL Hall. And then Joey Ortiz, who was the actual top 100 prospect. You talked about his defense, and he is very close to the big leagues, ready to plug, maybe even this season at third, and then moving over to short, as you said, if Willy Adames leaves. And then you never know what you're going to get with that pick, but it's a 34th overall compensatory pick. You can trade compensatory picks. Could be ending up another top prospect by next year in the Milwaukee Brewers system. So overall, it's not a terrible haul.
It's not
for the Brewers.
It's not, and Corbin Burns, he struck out 200 last year in a down season. His ERA ballooned up for him to like 3.30. I mean, he's still a very, very elite pitcher, and You throw him right at the top of the Baltimore Orioles rotation, along with Kyle Bradish, and they're going to be dirty. They're going to be dirty.
Now, if you're the Padres and you really, really wanted Corbin Burnes for a season, you could have beat that. I mean, certainly Jackson Merrill, I would say, would probably. I mean, he tops Joey Ortiz in all the prospect lists in terms of rankings. You could throw in another pitcher that's getting closer to the big leagues, maybe like an Iriarte, who's already on the 40-man, and you probably could have beat that offer if you were A.J. Preller and wanted to rent Corbin Burnes for one season. But again, he would be a rental for 1 year, and you'd be losing two really exciting prospects, to the Milwaukee Brewers for that. Padres fans out there, is that something you think that A.J. Preller should have done, matched or beat that offer by the Baltimore Orioles to rent Corbin Burnes for a season and give the Padres a rotation of Burnes, Musgrove, Darvish, King? Would have been one of the better, or if not the best, top four in baseball.
Yeah, and you asked me a question about a certain player last week. I can't remember who it was, and I think my answer was sure, yes, if he was the last piece that you needed. If the Padres went out and got Corbin Burnes yesterday and traded, like you said, Jackson Merrill and Iriarte for him, I would have looked at it and said, "Oh, okay, great. I mean, there's your 1, 2, whatever Corbin Burnes for 1 year at $15 million when allegedly we have $20 million left to spend and still gaping holes all over the outfield and in the lineup." I would have thought, all right, that maybe is a little bit of a foolish move, but if we were like last year, if Juan Soto was here and we needed one more starter and we're just going to run it back with the guys that we got, we picked up this guy or that guy to DH. I would say hell yeah. You can't let Corbin Burnes go to anybody else if you've got those prospects too. We're not one starting pitcher away. It's a crappy reality to deal with, but we're not. We're not a starting pitcher away. Do we need starting pitching? Yeah, absolutely. But if you got $20 million to spend, spend $15 million on one guy, I don't know. I don't know that it would have been really smart. But you absolutely could have gotten that deal done.
Time machine, if you could have gone back before 2023 and made a similar deal to get 2 years of Corbin Burnes.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Brewers were really interested in listening or making that kind of deal before last season.
I mean, it's nuts to think what the Orioles, what they were able to do last year. I know they didn't have the playoff success that they wanted, but they got there. They know what it tastes like. Their core is solid as any core in baseball. And, you expect really great things from those guys. You get a veteran like that, a guy that can pitch, a guy that can pitch in those ballparks, a guy that gets strikeouts. I mean, that's an absolute score for them. You're elated this morning if you're an Orioles fan.
And I'll tell you who the people who are the unhappiest right now are fans of the New York Yankees, the Tampa Bay Rays, the Toronto Blue Jays. That AL East just got harder to win this year with Baltimore solidifying the top of their rotation. They are now, I would say, a fairly clear favorite. Coming off a 100-win season last year and adding Corbin Burnes and young players who should only continue to get better with more experience, they look like a powerful force in the AL East this season.
We also know that it's baseball and they could finish fourth. We know that the guys that came up and burst on the scene last year could have sophomore slumps. We know that. We've seen it before. There's nothing guaranteed, but what they're doing right now is they're signifying to their fan base, too. Yeah, we weren't full of S when we told you the new owners are going to come in and we're going to make some waves and we are going to compete and go for it. There's a lot of talk right now that they're going after Dylan Cease. As I said, they're so flush with prospects, so flush with prospects. They don't have room for them. They've got to actually get rid of some of these guys, or they won't develop properly. So,
also sounds familiar. Of
yeah,
the last couple of years.
That's exactly right. And you saw what A.J. Preller's strategy was, guys. Let's start getting rid of these guys from Major League talent. He did it. It didn't exactly work, and so now they're scaling back a little bit. So I think what they've done in Baltimore is spectacular. Should make for. I mean, imagine your first. Corbin Burnes against Garrett Cole game. I mean, it's just fantastic theater. So I think this is phenomenal for them.
By the way, I think I'm the guy who said earlier this week, hey, Orioles fans, this sale is a long process. It's going to take months to approve. Don't expect them to jump right in and do something spectacular just because the team is sold. You got to have a little bit of patience.
And
Never mind.
Somebody makes the point in the chat. I mean, if you're Brian Cashman this morning, aren't you panicked buying Blake Snell? Aren't you absolutely going, we're the New York Yankees. We've got more money we know what to do with.
That's a good point.
Hi, Scott. Could we get Blake to $27 million a year? And then your top of the rotation is Cole, Snell, Carlos Rodon, and I don't even know who they have after that. But, yeah, I mean, this is great for Blake Snell. One of those teams in the AL East, they got to be blowing up Scott Boras. The Blue Jays? You're telling me Blake Snell wouldn't fit in the Blue Jays rotation?
And who
even
knows,
the Red Sox?
Who knows how many other teams were maybe discussing Corbin Burns with the Milwaukee Brewers, which was perhaps delaying their decision on a Blake Snell or a Jordan Montgomery, knowing, well, we don't want to make a free agent move when we may still land Burns in a trade. Now that he is off the market and he is an Oriole for sure for this season, that you're right. That should open up the last couple of top pitchers and perhaps loosen some purse strings for teams that no longer have that hope of landing a Corbin Burns in a trade.
Well, and loosen the purse strings certainly for teams, but also you got to think if you're Scott Boras, you're like, all right, well, they're getting creative and trading for aces now. I've got an ace on the market, a guy that just won the Cy Young. Maybe I need to be a little bit more flexible too. Maybe my client, Blake Snell, needs to be a little more flexible as well, because if teams are just going to go out and trade top prospects for aces, that's an ace. Corbin Burns is an ace. Make no mistake about it. He's an ace. So we need to find you a team. Pitchers and catchers report in 10 days? Let's get it going. I mean, I expect a flurry in the next week or so. There's got to be. We're left with no choice at this point.
Yeah, they don't want to pay them though. They want to
I know.
They're willing to trade for them just to avoid having
Paying
to
$30
pay
million a year
the
for
kind of numbers that Snell and Montgomery are looking for.
For a 37, 38-year-old Blake Snell, holy cow. I can't say that I'd pull the trigger on that either.
Yeah.
But if you're...
Because the Orioles could have kept those prospects and just spent twice as much money and had a Blake Snell or a Jordan Montgomery. They didn't want to do that.
That's exactly right. And they say, hey, by the way, they still might. They still might go get Montgomery. He's a great fit there. But if you're Monty and if you're Blake Snell today, you're like, all right, it's going to be any day now.
Did you know you can listen to 97.3 The Fan with your smart speaker? Just ask your device to play 97.3 The Fan to give it a shot. What is a device?
What is a device?
I'm not sure what a device is. But...
My parents are in town. And my dad said something last night. He flubbed a word, and Hannah called him on it, and it was the funniest freaking thing ever. And I'm like, sorry, I've trained her. This is how we do it.
All right, we will come back 1 hour down. Hour number 2 starts, of course, with Take on Woods. If you'd like to be our contestant to wrap up the week, you can get online now, 833-288-0973. Do not go anywhere. The Friday edition of Ben and Woods continuing next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Well, I know one of your favorite things is when I localize a story that isn't really a local story at all.
100%.
But we do
Nobody better.
We do have some breaking news in sports this morning. Theo Epstein is returning to the Boston Red Sox today, reported in a couple of places, including The Athletic. I'm reading the piece right now. He is returning as a part owner and a member of the Fenway Sports Group. So not just the Red Sox, but they also have Liverpool, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Boston Common Golf. They just invested in the PGA Tour, I believe. So they didn't report exactly like what percentage of ownership he's getting, but he's going to join Fenway Sports Group as a senior advisor, returning him to the team that he helped lead to a World Series title to end the curse 20 years ago. Theo Epstein back in Boston. Of course, USD law school grad Theo Epstein and former Padres front office assistant, like public relations assistant, I believe.
I think Red Sox fans are excited about this move because Theo has the magic touch, certainly, but he's not going to be the president of baseball operations or anything like that. He's got a really good relationship, apparently, with Craig Breslow, who's their new chief baseball officer. That said, I haven't seen a team getting dragged more this offseason than the Boston Red Sox. And it would stand to reason because you have your team that you love, the Red Sox, and they're investing in literally everything but players, actual baseball players. They're investing in the PGA Tour. They're investing in Theo Epstein coming back to the front office-ish. And they're not going out and signing any players, Ben. And that's a big market team. That is a team that traditionally has spent a lot of money. You've got one superstar in Rafael Devers that you're just not building around. I always see the meme when they talk about Rafael Devers of that shanty, that lean-to with the carport and a Ferrari or Lambo parked underneath the lean-to because they're just not doing anything right now player-wise. But, hey, listen, they're getting their infrastructure in place, I guess.
Yeah, I would imagine if you're a Boston fan and Fenway Park, it's a good media market, it's a passionate sports city.
Maybe
you feel
the
like that
most.
team should have as much money as they need to do anything that they want.
Yes.
That you're not going to be happy with the last couple of off seasons.
I know, man. I know. And I know many Padre fans over the years have said, look, bring him home. It's a no-brainer. Come back here. You've broken 2 curses. Let's see how good you are.
I'm one of those people.
100%. Let's see how good you are. If you can, I mean, he broke the Cubs curse, the curse of the Billy Goat, broke the curse of Billy Buckner in Beantown. Those are 2 of the strongest curses ever to live. Maybe even he was like, all right, I've pushed my luck enough. I mean, I know I'm good, but I don't know if I'm that good.
For me, it was always, it had to be a Peter Seidler thing, I think. And maybe that, well, obviously it's not going to happen now because Theo signed with Boston. But when Peter was with us, man, I just thought you put so much money into this organization. Players, you put money into the stadium and renovations and all of that. So why not go out and get the GOAT? You know what I mean? Like
the best.
The best of the best. And that doesn't necessarily even mean you have to move on from AJ Preller. You could say, hey, if you want to stick around, you're the GM, you're the guy. But we're going to bring in Theo, whether it's an advisor, president of baseball operations, or whatever. But if you're so serious, you're going to give out $400 million to this guy, $300 million to this guy, another $150 million to this player, why not also give him a blank check and say, come back home.
Come on back home.
Build us the winner. Cement yourself as the greatest sports executive to ever live.
He may already be.
He may already
You know, it could only tarnish his legacy if he doesn't get it done. SD Card says, so you do believe in curses? Yeah, where you been? Where you been? I threw my Curses Aren't Real shirt in the garbage last year because it's very evident that curses are in fact real, bud.
I think
This has been established.
Is there just kind of an uncertainty about what has Theo really been doing the last few years? We're working with. It's been.
Was he with the Cubs?
Major League Baseball. Well, he
Or
was, but he was Major League Baseball, and you just kind of haven't seen him for a while. So
Wasn't
I think
he behind the scenes possibly trying to help with like Nashville expansion?
Yeah.
I mean,
so.
like very behind the scenes stuff. So you kind of out of sight, out of mind for the last couple of years. But he's not coming back when AJ Preller's the president of baseball
Correct.
operations. This would be if you moved on from AJ Preller. Would he be a guy that you'd want to bring into the fold. Now that he is part of an ownership group, though, it doesn't mean that he can never leave and get himself out of it, but you figured he's probably there for some equity for at least a few
I think that
years
ship sailed.
once he's gone back to Boston. So I would not expect anything, in the near future, San Diego involving Theo Epstein coming up after that news that just came out this morning. Back with the Boston Red Sox and the Fenway Group in Boston. If you want to play Take on Woods, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Did you say that the organizational minor league rankings came out?
Yeah, Baseball America.
Baseball America?
Yep. You want them?
I would like to know where the Padres land.
The Padres are at number 6 in Baseball America.
And then
that's like a total rebuild, basically, of what the Padres were. Top 100 prospects, they have 6. Salas, Merrill, Snelling, Lesko, Drew Thorpe, DeVries. San Diego has a remarkable ability to regenerate top prospects despite trading away so much future value in the past few years in a so far unsuccessful attempt to catch the Dodgers. If right-handed pitcher Dylan Lesko can regain his high school form, the combination of him and Robbie Snelling could be the best pitching duo in the minors.
ESPN, just 5 minutes ago, Kyler McDaniel came out with his organizational rankings. He doesn't have the Padres at 6.
Where does he have them?
4.
Ooh.
4.
Okay.
Number 4.
Like it.
So, yeah, they continue to climb up the ranks in terms of minor league. It is, as much as we laugh and go, let's see one of these guys actually do it on the big league level. Let's see them help the major league club. It's pretty remarkable that AJ can make as many trades and trade away as many prospects as he did in the last 3 years and rebuild it to now a consensus top 10 and by some estimates even top 5 farm system in baseball. That is a pretty remarkable job. Whether you like AJ or not, I will tip my cap on at least building up a system that outside people acknowledge now looks like one of the better ones in baseball and doing it in breakneck speed to get there.
I mean,
No question.
You dumped everyone.
Yeah, you dumped
for
a
that
ton.
Soto trade.
Yep.
And a year and a half later, back in the top 5.
Back in the top 5 is great, but it's it's the Jerusalem tulip. We'll see if it blooms in 6 months with regular water and sunlight. Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great. You have to have it. You have to have it to be a successful organization. But so far, not a lot's materialized. From the international signings, all the money spent there, not a lot's materialized yet.
And
Doesn't
that's
mean
one
it
of
won't.
the most frustrating parts of the team to the north of us is that it just feels like
They all
every
do.
single year.
They all hit.
So-and-so, Bueller's out for a year with surgery. Cool, we're just going to bring up another guy.
No problem.
Top
Here's
prospect,
Bobby Miller.
101 miles an hour, absolutely filthy. And we're like, why doesn't this happen for us? We always
Ladies and
have
gentlemen,
the
Drew
top
Carlton,
prospect.
for your pleasure. Little Reese Kinnear action for you, if you may, sir.
I mean, I promise you, if AJ Preller, if the Padres ever got rid of him, I don't know if he'd get another job as a GM or president of baseball operations, but someone would make him the highest paid, top scout, director, player development director, or international scouting director that baseball has ever seen, because there is a value there. That is a skill, and he's got the confidence to know, I'll just do it again.
Yep.
If I trade guys away, I will just go ahead and build it and do it again.
No question
It's the
about
one
it.
thing that I think you can't argue, that he is good at building up a well-regarded farm system. All right, I see some callers coming in. Let's get to it. It is time for the Friday edition of Take on Woods. All right, we've got Ralph as our category. Yeah, Woods has got to leave. I'm trying to look. Where's my third category here, Paulie? Did I not send you a third category?
I don't know.
I have plenty. I have plenty of options. Let's see.
I see 2 categories.
All right, I'm going to send you another one right now, just in case, because I want to make sure that we have 3 categories for Ralph to choose from.
Firing on all cylinders this morning.
Take on Woods is brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes, and you don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. All right, Ralph, good morning to you. How are you?
Good morning, guys. Hey, wanted to give a shout-out to my son today. He's going to be wrestling at Metro. Paul Rivera at 106 today, baby. So good.
Where is he wrestling at?
Well, the Metro is at Chula Vista High School, but he's wrestling for Hilltop High.
Okay.
Awesome.
Good luck to
Good luck.
to him, and good luck to you as you try to qualify for our getaway to Las Vegas. It is a 2-night stay at the Westgate Las Vegas Resort and Casino. Tickets to Tom Kiefer and LA Guns on April 11th. Tickets are available at Ticketmaster.com. I believe this is the last day that you can qualify for our monthly giveaway. So good luck to you. The categories today on Take on Woods are the new category, even or odd.
You still haven't sent me that.
I just sent it. It hasn't popped in yet? Well, even or odd is one of the categories. Hopefully it pops into Paul's feed in just a second. The other ones are mystery category and Oh to Be Young, which are 5 answers, song titles, and artists that include the word young. So mystery category, Oh to Be Young, or even or odd are the categories. I don't know why this email is not getting through to you, Paulie. I sent it.
There we go, I got it.
Okay, you got it. All right. So which of those 3 categories would you like to play, Ralph?
I'm going to make this more challenging. Even or odd.
Even
Let's
or
go.
odd. All right,
son
Paulie's
of a
got
bitch.
Paulie's got to work a little quickly here. I will say we are looking for 5 song titles that include either the word even or the word odd. One of those 2 will appear in all 5. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5 as you can. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We will come back to it if there's time left on the clock. First question's the 2-second song. Paulie will play a little bit of a clip of music. If you get that one, you need to give me the title and the artist to score that point. Paulie, sorry about the delay. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
See, look how fast he is. This is amazing. Ralph, are you ready?
I'm the Trevor Baptiste.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, 60 seconds on the clock. The category even or odd. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Ralph, let's take on Woods.
That's Even Flow, Pearl Jam.
Correct. Which 1969 David Bowie single was Rush released on July 11th to capitalize on the Apollo 11 moon landing?
Pass on that.
Which 1984 Phil Collins hit is subtitled Take a Look at Me Now?
Pass.
On Opposite Day, the title of which Air Supply hit would be Odd the Days Are Worse.
Oh, God. Pass that. Hurry, pass.
Tom Petty wrote which 1979 song about hooking up with a high school crush for a one-night stand?
These nuts.
Which 1969 David Bowie single was Rush released on July 11th to capitalize on the Apollo 11 moon landing?
Space Oddity.
Correct. Which 1984 Phil Collins hit is subtitled Take a Look at Me Now?
Oh, that's Against All Odds.
It is. On Opposite Day, the title of which Air Supply hit would be... All right, you got 3. Good comeback in the end. You got Even Flow, Pearl Jam, Space Oddity, and Against All Odds. The other 2 were Even the Nights Are Better, Odd the Days Are Worse, and Even the Losers is the Tom Petty song. All right, 3 is the score. Hang on the line, Ralph. Your score is locked in. Woods now gets his opportunity to see if he can finish the week with a win. We had a 1-1 tie earlier this week, which was unusual. Won't happen today. All right, Ralph's score is locked in. 60 seconds back on the clock. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, Woods. Let's take on Ralph.
That's Even Flow by Pearl Jam.
Correct. Which 1969 David Bowie single was Rush released on July 11th to capitalize on the Apollo 11 moon landing?
Space Oddity.
Correct. Which 1984 Phil Collins hit is subtitled Take a Look at Me Now?
Against All Odds.
Correct. On Opposite Day, the title of which Air Supply hit would be Odd the Days Are Worse.
Even the Nights Are Better.
Correct. Tom Petty wrote which 1979 song about hooking up with a high school crush for a one-night stand?
1976. I need to know?
1979.
Oh, I need to know?
No, it's Even the Losers. But 4-3, you pull out the win there in the category Even or Odd. Even Flow, Space Oddity, Against All Odds. Even the Nights Are Better, Even the Losers.
Got your ass.
Ralph, thank you for
Sorry,
playing.
Ralph.
That should wrap up our month of prizes, and hopefully we'll have a new prize next month for Monday when we come back on, what would that be, February 5th.
Correct.
All right, let's take a time out. I've got a great do this story. This is actually a heroic moment, a real heroic moment for a fairly famous sports figure from the NFL that we can talk about. I like this story a lot.
And I've got a not-so-great story. I've got an update on the, frozen Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Brr. That's coming up next after a check of traffic.
What?
Burr.
They're dead.
Sorry. 97.3 The Fan. We'll be right back.
Burr.
Back song or two.
On 97.3 The Fan.
I've got an update on the, frozen Kansas City Chiefs fans.
Burr. All right, so there's one don't
You're a
do this
monster.
right there. I was showing empathy. They were cold. They were very cold.
It did feel
I can
very.
imagine it was very cold.
It did feel very empathetic when you said Burr.
Burr.
Yeah, there is an update to this story. We told you about it a couple weeks ago. Guys went over to watch the Chiefs-Chargers game. One guy had passed out on his couch. 3 guys went to the backyard. They froze to death and died. Usually when you freeze to death, you do die.
Burr.
And that... Damn it. The initial toxicology reports are back, and there were there's a lot of cocaine, THC, and fentanyl in their systems. David Harrington, Clayton McGeeney, and Ricky Johnson, the family members did confirm these toxicology reports. The one guy that was still alive, Jordan Willis, he has now moved out of that house, Ben, and checked himself into rehab. So I don't know how culpable he's going to be for the crimes, but it sounds to me, just sounds like a really big, wild party gone terribly, terribly wrong. But again, he is out of the house and has checked himself into rehab.
It's a tragedy, and my flippant comment was, I apologize.
Burr.
SoCal Yeti says Ben's response was as cold as those guys were. Yeti would know. A Yeti would know.
A Yeti would know.
All right, so that's a don't do this for me and a don't do this story at the same time.
At least you can admit it.
So I'll just move right into do this because I like this one.
Mega doo-doo.
Baltimore Ravens tight end Mark Andrews came through in the clutch again, but this time it happened mid-air on a flight, a Southwest Airlines flight from Baltimore to Phoenix, Arizona, where a woman was having a medical emergency. Passengers noticed a woman sitting in the middle of the plane. She was in and out of consciousness, and they weren't sure what was going on. The heart rate was low. The blood pressure was low. She was kind of not totally with it, and he jumped in and said, is it possible she is having a low blood sugar diabetic incident? Because Mark Andrews is a type 1 diabetic, like my son, and he had the equipment necessary. In this case, she would need either a glucose injection or some sugar just to stabilize her. That turned out to be the issue. He was able to help out, jump in. Woman was okay. He went on with his day. I don't think he would have brought it up, but people noticed who he was, so the story kind of got out, what he had done, and it became a public thing, and people have written about it, but he wasn't looking for any attention. He just calmly stepped in, assessed the situation, and did the old life-saving thing on a flight, which
no
is
big
very
deal,
cool.
right?
Yeah,
That's
no big deal.
Incredible. Good for him. Good for her. Glad she's okay.
You know, the interesting thing is, obviously, had the Ravens won.
Who are the Bravens?
Had the Ravens won. Baltimore Ravens, the B Ravens.
Bengals,
the B Ravens.
Browns, Bravens.
Bengals, Browns,
the
Ravens.
B Ravens.
The Ravens.
Had they won, they would have been getting ready for a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He would
dude.
not
He
have
would
been
not
on
have
a
been on that flight, Benjamin.
to Phoenix for the offseason. Instead, he was there where he needed to be. Somehow, it worked out in this situation.
That's fantastic news. And you have another positive story.
I did. I don't know if we brought it up yesterday or not.
We
but
did
if you
not,
were-
actually.
If you were following Don't Do This earlier this week, you heard about the Jackie Robinson statue in Wichita that was cut at the ankles, stolen, then it was later found burned in a dumpster beyond repair. There was nothing going to be done about it. The response, though, has been amazing. Major League Baseball teams have chipped in, and they've already raised, over $150,000?
$175,000.
They have the mold for the statue.
Yep.
So they're going to be able to cast a new statue, get it replaced like new. I think there was a GoFundMe as well, so they're not going to have any trouble funding and replacing that statue. It makes you feel good that even though there are horrible people who do horrible things out there, there are more good people who are willing to step in, make it right.
I got an idea
end.
for the Jackie Robinson statue. Cameras in the eyes. Small, tiny cameras.
Well, they got these guys on camera.
They do.
And they think there's going to be arrests. I don't think
so.
they've announced any, but the Wichita police want to make sure they have all their ducks in a row. They're doing the investigation when they They make the arrest. They want the case to be foolproof. But it sounds like they are on the right track. Suspects, perhaps. They're getting some testimony. You know,
I hope they get him. I hope they get him.
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it was such an awful scene to see that thing cut off at the ankles, and yeah, man, $175,000 that'll get it back up, which is great. Love to see that. So great couple of do this is after your massive mistake.
Sorry, and that's don't and do this for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
I'll throw in a little mixed story that I guess is both. Congratulations to the San Diego Mojo had their very first game yesterday,
Saw that.
which is good. That's a do this. Kerry Walsh Jennings' new professional volleyball team. The Doan is they got bodied in 3 sets in Atlanta. It was the Mojo versus the Vibe, and the Vibe improved to 3-0, and San Diego's first home game will be on the 23rd at Viejas Arena later this month.
They played a what?
They play to
21?
25 in each
25.
game. So best you have to win 3 out of 5 sets.
Right.
And each set is to 25 points.
Okay.
You don't have to serve to win a point. In the old days, they played to 15, but you could only score when you were serving. So a side out would just be nothing, and then you'd serve. Now, every point ends with a point for one team or the other, so you can get a point on defense, but then you have to serve, and that's always the trick is, you can bump set spike and get a point, but can you serve it, block them, defend it, and get a point on your own serve? It's and then get to 25.
Speaking of Side Out, did you ever see that movie, Side Out?
I did.
With C. Thomas Howell and the guy that looks like a lion from 30-something. I don't remember his name. Peter something. That movie was one of the worst movies of all time.
Not one of the better sports movies.
But I will watch it every time it's on. We were talking.
Bad movies
we were
that you
talking.
like,
Oh,
yeah.
my God. I think I searched for it on streaming recently. You know, guy moves to California from the cold and is like, yeah, I'm gonna be a lawyer, and then is like, I think I'm gonna play beach volleyball instead. Have you heard of this movie, Paulie? It's called Side Out. It's unbelievably bad. It's so unbelievably bad, but it's so good. Anytime it's on, I will stop down and I will watch Side Out with the guy that looks like a lion. And you know who I'm talking about, right? With the beard and the
picture
long
him, yeah.
hair. And then C. Thomas Howell as the young upstart volleyball player that found his niche. Side Out. Great movie from the 80s.
Peter Horton?
Peter Horton.
Played Zach Barnes.
Yeah, Zach Barnes.
Inside Out.
He's a bit of an alcoholic, kind of a loose cannon, but he's schooling the young guy on his, teaching him the ways. It's so pathetically
Also starring
bad.
Courtney Thorne
Courtney
Smith.
Thorne Smith, who I was a big fan of.
Melrose Place, right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Great movie.
You probably don't know this. We've had a special guest in studio all morning long, just sitting quietly, observing.
As he does.
Not making his presence known. But we're going to make his presence known.
Yeah, we are.
When we come back.
Kid's going to be working double overtime today.
Surprise
The grind
in studio.
is about to start.
Ben and Wood's guest getting ready to give up his life for the next, 7-8 months. Coming up next on 97.3 The Fan. Woods was just commenting on how active and entertaining and engaged our YouTube chatters are. Also, our X followers are always commenting on the show. There's a constant running dialogue, and we appreciate that. We can't respond to everybody, but we're seeing most of the comments, and we do really appreciate you taking part in the show every morning. Why are you looking at me like that?
Do you hear what he said? We can't respond to everyone.
We can't.
I mean,
We actually probably could if all three of us actually did it.
No way.
That's what I was looking for, Paulie.
There's no way. There's literally probably, how many comments would you say over the course of a 4-hour show?
It's through the roof.
Like, have we ever counted?
It's thousands.
It's got to be thousands
It's crazy.
of comments
It's
over
crazy.
the course of
It's
one
too
show.
much work for two people to do.
It is too much work for two of us to do. Correct. Really could use an extra set of hands.
Well, fortunately, we've got one in studio this morning, and we will bring him into the fold right after a check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
We still have this crash on southbound 15 at Via Rancho Parkway. It's in the center divide. Further south on the 15, right before the 8. Collision involving a couple vehicles. That is over to the right shoulder. And got an overturn crash northbound 15 before the 805. That's got the slow lane blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And look who we have here joining us right now on 97.3 The Fan is your Padres pre- and post-game show host. Also going to be sitting in the Annie and Elston program after us this morning. Came in very early to get some extra work done and get some training from Paulie in the studio here. Sam Levitt is with us on 97.3 The Fan. Sammy, good morning. Happy Friday to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Great to be here. I don't know how you do it every morning, the 5:30 a.m. arrival. I will say, though, I've heard a lot about Ben being, kind of cutting it close to the start of the show.
he gives about 30 minutes, which is plenty.
Okay.
That's
I
plenty.
rolled in at 5:40. Ben was here.
Yeah,
on
he was here.
laptop, ready to go.
Yeah, he's
Good
never.
job, Ben.
He
Thank you.
only maybe one time has he been like, I'm going to be there with seconds to spare. I heard Craig yesterday was talking about how he gave himself 50 minutes or so to get here, and it was not enough. There were accidents all over. Hopefully, all the everyone out there is okay. But it's your whole life. Is minutes and seconds. So I don't do a lot at night. I really don't. I got to shut my brain down, and I'm a morning guy, so I got here this morning at 4:30 because that's when I do my work. I can't do it at night. My brain is mush. I can't write a note. I can watch a game. That's all I can do. So I think for me, I get up, I get here and do it early.
It's funny you say that. The last few months, I feel myself getting older in the sense of 9-10 p.m., I'm ready to go to bed.
Cashed.
Be done with whatever I'm doing. Up at like 5:30. I've been getting up really early the last few months.
I feel like you can get a lot done in the morning.
Yeah,
I really
it's great.
do. Yeah, I love it. Well, I'm
Maturing.
glad you're here, Sammy. And you're staring down the barrel here. When do you depart for spring training?
I leave a week from tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
So the countdown is on.
So you'll be there the day before, technically, pitchers and catchers are required to arrive.
Well, I want to be there in the morning of the 11th
Okay.
when pitchers and catchers report and things really start. So get there a week from tomorrow, get into the Airbnb, maybe buy some groceries, get settled, and away we go.
Do you do a lot of cooking for yourself at spring training, or
Now,
will you this year?
Last year I did not because the place I was at, I wasn't even going to start. And I didn't really have the equipment to do it. This year I'm going to
Is it a
try.
hot plate?
Well, for two reasons. Number one, to save a little money for the company, of course.
Look at you.
Of course. But also
Making us look bad.
I'm trying to watch my figure a little
Sure,
bit.
I get it.
I'm trying to my original plan was to show up at Peoria, classic, best shape of my life.
Right. Yeah, it's spring training.
I'm in better shape, but I'm in more of I'm going to kind of play myself into shape scenario.
Like the
at
old
spring
style
training.
of baseball players
Yes.
who kind of show up to spring training, and that would be when they'd get their physical fitness done and
was
get ready
their-
for the season.
It was their first set of calisthenics that they've done. They
Right.
shut it down completely. Many of them had to have other jobs back in the way long ago, and then they're like, "Oh God, it's spring training! I got to run!" And it's like these
Cut
days
back
now,
on the cigarettes
Yeah,
now. Now that spring training is here.
Yep.
But now you're expected to do that all in the off season.
Yeah, it's exactly
Spring
right.
training is simply when you're getting your baseball skills up to snuff again.
I remember Pablo Sandoval showing up for the Boston Red Sox
my goodness.
one year, and I was like, bro, like what have you been did you work at a donut shop in the off season? Like, were you behind? I mean, I'm a bigger guy, so but I was like, man, if you're making, and he just signed a huge deal with them, and when he got out of his car day one, they're like, oh my God, what are we doing? They had to put him on like special restrictions and stuff. You don't want to be that guy at spring training. Big deal, no big deal, whatever. Show up ready to go. Our own Sammy Spring Training will be doing that.
I'm going to cook, yes. Or at least I'm going to buy more groceries, pre-made salads, things like that. I'm going to try to be better. Because last spring training, I ran into, like, I would wake up, and I was also really close to the complex.
Yeah.
So I had time. So I would go and, get a fast food breakfast, show up, and I needed something in my system before we got started. It starts, you guys know this, it starts really early out there. Like sometimes the clubhouse is open. It could be before 8 a.m.
Oh, it's like 6 a.m.
Yeah,
We
start
Alfaro.
the show at 7 a.m.
yeah.
local time, 6 a.m. Pacific, and we'll be setting up at 6:30, 6:45.
Oh, yeah. And guys are
Just
there.
walking in.
Guys are there. Yeah. I mean, they get there really early and they get their work in. And the good thing about spring training is you're done. Even when the games start, you're done by like 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
And it's
100%.
over.
I mean, we're done by 11, but yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. Sammy Spring Training joins us in studio this morning. Who are you? You got a good rapport with a lot of the guys that are going to be out there, but in a typical San Diego Padres start of a season, a lot of new faces, right?
Yeah.
A ton of new faces, and faces have left, and guys have replaced them, and we know there's going to be more to come in the next couple of weeks. Who are you excited to talk to that maybe you didn't get a chance to rap with last year? And I know there's new guys coming, but like, who's like the guy you look at and go, I can't wait to talk to him?
I think it's got to be these young guys right now, right? Like the Merrills, who I did talk to a little bit last year because he was in the Major League clubhouse for a while. But even the guys like Jacob Marcy and some of these young guys that at least right now could play a role on this team, if not at the start of the year. I mean, I think we're all sort of expecting that there will be some moves made here for an outfielder or two. But right now, I mean, it certainly appears like at some point in 2024, somebody like Jackson Merrill could play a really significant role, right? So to see their development, to talk to those guys, to talk to the Graham Paulies and Jairo Iriarte, some of the names that you guys have mentioned this morning, they're a big part of the future. I mean, it's such an interesting situation right now, I think, because you have a lot of known, right, with the Mannies and Fernandos. And I'm interested, honestly, to talk to Fernando as well, coming off a real normal offseason where he had the chance to play in the Dominican, where he had the chance to do everything he normally does, because I think that was something that was significant last year. The fact that he didn't have a normal offseason coming off the surgeries and also didn't have a quote-unquote normal spring training. If you remember, he was still coming back from the surgeries and stuff. So the young guys and, talking to Fernando and Joe Musgrove and getting his thoughts on things, which is always great. And obviously last year was, up and down for him with the injuries, the start, and just some of the start and stop nature of it. So a little bit of a mix, like the young guys and some of these guys that they're going to have big years from if they want to be a playoff team.
You just said normal spring training, and Sam Levitt's in studio with us here on Ben and Woods this morning. When was the last normal spring training? 2019?
Yeah, 2019.
I mean, 2020 was interrupted by the pandemic in the middle of spring training. Then 2021, they were still coming out of the pandemic. 2022 was the lockout, which was the late start. 2023 was the World Baseball Classic and the rule changes and everything. And now we get to 2024. And, of course, there's a trip to Korea. Right? Not in the middle of spring training, but, normally they'd still be in Peoria for another week and a half to 2 weeks when they will be getting on a plane and going to the other side of the planet for a week. So this is not going to be a normal spring training either. We know what turned into the narrative last year, that Yu Darvish didn't get enough innings with Team Japan, and Juan Soto and some of the other guys didn't get to adjust to the new rules because they were playing the World Baseball Classic rules. How do we anticipate the narrative going for Korea? I know that they'll say, oh, no, it's not a big deal. We'll be prepped. We'll be ready for it. But in, in the end, do you think it will affect the Padres and the Dodgers in spring training this year, or will it be a non-story in the end?
Well, I think I think there's a chance there is some effect, right? In a pure baseball sense, and I've wondered this for a while, those 2 games in Korea, what does your pitching look like? Are guys going to be all the way built up? Is it going to be a scenario where you may have 2 starters go 4, maybe 5 innings, and then have to bring a bunch of pitchers that will pitch in those games? And, it's an interesting scenario because they count, and they're against the Dodgers. And
They do.
And by the way, it would stink to start 0-2, okay?
Absolutely
Right?
it would. But I do
Then
think
come home for Fan Fest.
Yeah, then come home for Fan Fest.
And then have exhibition games. It's going to be an interesting start. But with that said, I think when we look back to last season, no matter what exactly this roster looks like and what happens over the course of the next few weeks, I think it's really important they get off to a good start, and a not so good start isn't going to feel really good.
It's not
just
at all. And it will be really interesting to see how Dave Roberts manages these games, and Mike Schilt, because with that lag time after, you could literally empty your bullpens for 2 games and then say, oh, good, I like this. We got fresh arms coming in every other inning. We'll see what we got, and et cetera, et cetera.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of room for excuses, quite frankly, even though it's a different team and there's a lot of different elements to it. Reality is, coming off last year, no matter, how different this spring training is going to be, starting earlier, going to Korea, coming back, having Fan Fest, the exhibition games, and then having Bob Melvin and the Giants come in. It's different. It's going to be a lot different than the other 28 teams that aren't going to Korea. But to me, for a team that could really, really, really use a good start, you got to make it work.
And a lot is always made of got to get out to a hot start, and sometimes that is overblown. Last year, though, the Padres didn't get off to a good start, as we all know, and we kind of dismissed it. It was constantly it's early, they're going to be fine.
I was saying it's early in August.
There's too much talent. They will go on a big winning streak here. There's no way they can go all year without winning 4 games in a row, and we kept saying that. But we had patience because our expectations were high and we believed in the team. This year, I think Sammy's kind of right. The fan base will be happy to cheer on the Padres and accept, some positive news and some surprises. But if things don't go well early, everyone's ready to panic and go, this is a disaster. The scale back in the salary is going to completely torpedo. There's not going to be any, hey, it's early, don't worry, be patient, this team's coming around. It's going to be full on 5-alarm fire. My God, they're 7-8, they're 7-11 right now at the start of the season. There's not going to be the kind of patience we saw last year. Whether or not they deserved it last year, I don't know, but it's not coming this year for the Padres.
Well, I think it's hard because every team deserves your patience at the beginning of the year because of the marathon nature of baseball.
Right.
That being said, I know, for at least the Padre fans that I know, that I'm close with,
Ain't doing that again.
They ain't doing that again. It's going. Some guy hit me in the chat yesterday and was like, "You going to be saying it's don't worry about it in August?" And I go, I mean, I might, but I in my heart of hearts, we talked to Skip Schumacher a couple months ago. We said, "Hey, how do they turn it around?" He goes, "Honestly, you got to have a good April.
Yeah,
you got that. Those players, Manny, Xander, all the guys that have been here." They need to win an extra inning game in the first 2 weeks. They have to do it. It's just has to be done.
That's
one run game.
Extra inning game.
Please win a couple of those early.
Think about 2 teams from last year. The Marlins, good example. The Diamondbacks. Both got off to really, really good starts. Think about that start the D-backs got off to. Remember, midsummer, they went through a swoon.
Yep.
It looked like they were going to fall apart. But the good start allowed them to
little breathing room,
steady the ship a little bit. If you're looking at the Diamondbacks, I think we all hope the Padres win more than 84 games, and I think they are capable of that.
You feel like you're in the driver's seat so much more if you can get off to that good start
Right, yeah.
and then
At
just
least,
withstand the blows.
And every team goes through one of those swoons. Texas did. I mean, they had a longer good start, but they had a swoon in August into September where it looked like they might not even make the playoffs for a little bit, but because they played well early, they got in. They won a World Series.
Ben and the Jets at 21 and 22, though, both started off incredible, and then went to pot quickly.
Right.
And so, I do think coming off of last year, though, a hot start is absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be 29-1 or anything like that. But people need to know this is the brand of baseball we're going to be playing.
Right. And that I don't want to say demand for a hot start, but that necessity for a hot start. Look, it may not be totally fair. It's a different team with a lot of key pieces from last year that were lost in Snell and Hader and a new manager. It may not be totally fair, but look, I'm with you from the fan base perspective. I get it. Like after last year and seeing what happened and kind of waiting for the whole thing to click and it not really happening, I do think it is a fair, I don't know if expectation is the right word, but like a fair desire for them to play well to start and then be able to carry some of that momentum.
What do you guys think? Mr. Panda in the chat says, we all know we're a fourth place team, regardless of what you try to sell us. I'm not trying to sell anything, but
I don't agree with that.
I think going
really
into the
don't.
season, I mean, the unexpectedness of baseball, thrown out the window. First seems a little ambitious. With
First
what
is
the
very
Dodgers have
ambitious.
done.
If we were in here selling you that you're going to win the division, we're absolute
Then you're
morons.
saying they're going to win
And
100
fifth,
games.
I would hope that they're still better than the Rockies, given that the Rockies have done nothing, essentially, in the
It's so
offseason.
hard to even forecast because they can't crack opening day with this roster.
No, they will not.
There have to be moves to be made.
I can see a scenario where the Diamondbacks, they've made some good offseason moves.
They
It
have.
doesn't necessarily automatically mean,
As we know,
they're better than a World Series team from last year. They were an 84-win team over the regular season last year. Essentially, standard deviation away from the Padres, which were an 82-win team. The Giants, the Padres finished ahead of them last year. They added Jung-Ho Lee, but I'm not saying that the Giants are making some big jump either. I can see the Padres anywhere from second to fourth this year, pretty reasonably. I'm not making a prediction at the moment, but I don't know they're a fourth place team. I don't know they're a third or a second place team, but it's somewhere in those three going into the season.
And I think just overall, I think you would feel a lot better if the center field and left field and DH questions were answered and you knew exactly what the rest of that lineup looks like. I think you'd be able to predict it out, or at least project it out, a little bit better, right? Because then you would just know more. Again, it's so weird because I'm literally a week away from leaving for Peoria, and there's so much unknown. And by the way, it's not just the Padres. I mean, Snell, Montgomery, Bellinger. I mean, if you're a New York Yankees fan, you're like, hey, we traded for Soto. What are we doing, though, to make this team better? I mean, so many teams have those questions. So I think it's been an odd offseason. But this idea, even right now, without knowing what the total picture looks like, even right now, the idea that they're automatically the fourth place team in the division.
I can't buy that.
I think that's nonsense. I really do.
Make me not want to watch.
Yeah,
man,
I don't think. I think there is a world and a scenario, depending on how this all shakes out, how they play, the start they get off to, the whole picture. That they're a wild card team and the second place team in this division. I really do. And look, I think the Diamondbacks are going to be better, confident, young, talented team they added. Yeah, it's going to be tough division, but we shall see. When you have Tatis and Manny and Bogarts, these guys, to me, that means you should be in the mix.
Yep. And Sammy, you're around all 4 hours for the midday today?
10 to 2, yes.
10 to 2. Woo! Sitting in the Annie and Elston program. Sammy Levitt coming up later. Thank you for coming in and joining us.
My
this morning.
pleasure.
All right, we will come back. We've got 2 hours left in the program. And unfortunately, when we return, got a shout out to the family of Tier 1 that passed away, and we will talk a little bit about that. I didn't realize that Woods had such a deeper relationship as well. So that is coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Friday, February 2nd. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan. Great to be here with you on a sunny so far Friday. I think the weather is going to come back in the next few days. Going to get some rain. Yesterday didn't feel as bad to me as the previous one. I certainly didn't see as much devastation and destruction as I did after the last rain. But so hopefully everyone is okay. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor as well. Yeah, I woke up to some sad news this morning. Woke up this morning early and looked at my phone, and my wife had tweeted it about our friend Tom. And Tom owned a bike repair service in Leucadia and has for many, many years. And it was Tom's Mobile Bike Service, Padres fan, huge tier one of the show. He passed away unexpectedly yesterday. And I was really, really sad when I saw the news this morning. It sucks waking up to that. Tom is a guy, he's native. He's one of the few guys that always, since I got here, really, he listened to me on the old station, he listened to me on the old station. He's always been super supportive of my career and longtime friends of my mother-in-law, Susie's. And, he fixed our Bob stroller like 40 times. Like he would fill up the tires. He would replace the tubes. He was one of the few guys that always made me feel like I was welcome here. Always. And would DM me things about my kids, and just a great, great man. He wrote me 2 days ago when I posted, my radio anniversary. He said, "We're the lucky ones, brother. We watch every morning on the tube." That's right, Katie's a big fan, too. Keep on rocking it. Much love. And I was really, really sad to see that news. So, Tom and Tom's family,
I didn't know Tom personally, but, his son, Tori, is one of Shelly's dearest friends, and we've known Tori for years, and they've got little kids, and I was there, actually, when Tori called Shelly with the news yesterday, and it was very obviously sad, but I didn't realize you had that connection as well with Hannah and her family in Leucadia.
You couldn't have met a kinder soul, and a really peaceful guy, too. And I just was really, really bummed to see that news this morning when I woke up. So thinking about you guys, certainly. We lost a good one, man. We lost a good one in the community. True San Diegan, all of his heart, all of his soul. Was put back into this community. He is a really, really great man. Very, very bummed to see this morning.
Paulie,
you know what that means?
If you would.
Yeah, go ahead.
In deepest respect.
He would love it, by the way. He would love it.
Unity and more peace when already things are so difficult. So, shout out to his family.
Yep, he would love it. He would love it.
That's tough.
That's tough, man. Tough. I just, you get a little panicked. He's a great grandfather. He's always showing pictures of him and his grandkids. So yeah, it's you get that panicky feeling when you wake up in the morning when you start your day like that. But yeah, man, definitely going to be missed.
Kind of like that panicky feeling now I get. What do I do at this point? You heartfelt tribute, well spoken Woods, and now it's 8:04. Like, do I dive into Lakers rumors here, or what do I do? Really hard.
Maybe I should have waited to the end.
Maybe. I don't know. This is an issue we've had several times before. But when you do a tribute in the middle of a segment, and then we're sitting here, I can't go to break. Like in TV, you know what they do? They have They go to black, silence, a picture, and then it fades to black, and there's like an extra 3 or 4 beats, and then it's a commercial, and you restart.
The tribute topic wheel this morning. Go ahead. Why not? It's fantastic. That is fantastic.
What did you regularly eat as a kid that you wouldn't touch now?
Ooh.
Oh, that's a good one.
Deviled ham.
Deviled? What made it so...
Salmon patties.
I've eaten a lot of things in my life. I don't think I've ever eaten deviled ham. What makes it so deviled?
Haven't you?
How do you devil a ham? I know how you devil an egg. I've had deviled eggs. How do you devil ham?
It is...
What makes it so devilish?
probably the sodium nitrate in it that will absolutely stop your
Wait,
heart.
what is it, Lo? Is it like ham salad? Is it spicy
it's
ham?
Like ham?
What is it? What is
it's
it?
like ham salad is what it is. The ingredients, ham and seasoning, mustard, flour, spices, turmeric.
Seasoning.
Yeah. I ate it when I was a kid. My grandmother would make deviled ham. Not make it. You buy it. In the Underwood was the name of the thing. It's got the little devil on it. And I would I think I thought it was gross then, but I really wouldn't eat it now.
For me, it's, there's probably ham in it. Lunchables. I used to have lots of Lunchables.
They're really bad for you.
I would not touch a Lunchable now.
You wouldn't eat one?
No.
I would still eat one in a pinch.
Really?
Yeah. In a pinch, I would.
I think
crackers and ham.
It's not good for you, but it doesn't taste like crap.
It doesn't taste
I don't
great
think.
anymore.
I can't remember the last time I had a
Yeah, it's been a
Lunchable.
long time.
I'm just saying it kind of scares me now.
Yeah, it's unhealthy.
Now that I've had like real charcuterie and it's like one of my favorite things, I can't go back to Lunchables at this point. That's what Lunchables is. It's charcuterie for kids.
It's for Alabamans. Yes, it's Mississippian charcuterie.
Florida
is what it is.
Man.
Yeah, Florida Man charcuterie board. One giant Lunchable. That's true. My grandmother. We didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up, and me and my mom lived with my grandparents for a while when I was growing up, and she used to make these. I'm not kidding you guys. It's probably why I'm so disgusted by salmon now. She used to get canned salmon, and make salmon patties and then fry them up in the
salmon cakes.
And I smell it to this day. She had I remember a green
Canned
pan.
fish has a strong smell. I mean, we all have eaten canned tuna, obviously.
This is good. Fish sticks. I won't touch them. I used to eat the crap out of fish sticks.
Oh, yeah, no
I will
fish
not
sticks.
touch a fish stick now.
Now, what's the difference between like fish and chips and a fish stick? Because I'll eat fish and chips.
I will too, prepared at a restaurant.
Yes.
Not a Gorton's Fisherman.
No frozen breaded fish items will pass these lips.
No, I'm
at
with
this
you,
point.
dude. I'm with you 100%. A lot of things in a can I won't eat anymore.
I won't eat like...
I didn't want salmon! I said it 4 times!
Me now.
Dinosaur-shaped nuggets or any shaped, really, meat at all. It's really off the table at this point.
That just sparked my memory.
Do you eat dino nuggets?
No.
No.
I would. I absolutely would. Absolutely. When I was a kid, speaking of nuggets, I would dip my chicken nuggets in ketchup as a kid.
Yeah.
They came out with, in the late 90s, colored ketchup, like green ketchup and blue ketchup.
Yep, I
and all
remember
that.
those, yeah.
And I loved it.
Of course.
And then I realized it tasted, I don't know if it was just the look of it that made it taste weird. It didn't taste like regular ketchup. I was like, I can never do that again. It was like a texture thing or something. It was like, nope, this is supposed to be red, not green. And I couldn't possibly do that now.
Trying to think what else. I mean, when you're a kid, you'll eat. Well, you have your phases where you'll eat nothing, like my kids, and then you'll eat everything that you can get your hands on. But there was a ton of things my mom used to make. She used to make liver and onions, and I was like, bro, this tastes like butt. I don't want this.
This is snooty Ben a little bit. I won't eat Kraft mac and cheese anymore because I've had good mac and cheese, and I can't go back.
I could not disagree more. I had it 2 nights ago.
I know. Shelly loves it too, and
I think I'm with
Shelly
Ben on
makes
that
literally the best mac and cheese in the world, and she still likes the Kraft mac and cheese. And
When
it's
you
like, I
tried
can't do it. I
when
can't do
people
it.
try to fancy up mac and cheese, you're missing it. Oh, you have a breadcrumb layer on top, and there's tiny little, spices and all kinds of. Kraft remains superior. I was on the Velveeta shells kick for a long time in college. I couldn't eat that now. Velveeta
I'll
shells.
take that over Kraft.
Oh,
10 out of 10.
Kraft. It's my favorite. It's like my favorite. It'd be part of my last meal. So I made the family size box. My kids barely eat. Hannah didn't eat any of it. I had a trough of it left. A trough. 8 p.m. the other night. Everyone's asleep. I walked out. I crushed the entire thing of Kraft. Put a little Cholula on there and murdered it. And I think it's my favorite food.
Speaking of Kraft, I also used to eat those individual slices of American cheese when I was a kid. I won't do that
still do
anymore
that.
either.
I
They
put
taste
them
like wax paper.
I put it on crackers.
When it
Still
comes
do
to
it.
like sweet treats, when
Some
I was a
people
kid,
put it on their face. Which really makes it now unappealing to eat, to even think about eating.
Please find that picture and put it up in the chat or tweet it or something. Oh my God. Oh.
Now, Kurt says Chef Boyardee, which is the obvious answer. The
You'll
problem is
eat it.
I will actually still eat that now every once in a while.
So grody. So grody.
I know. But I never lost my taste for it completely.
Honestly, the only thing I eat out of a can these days is tuna fish. That's it. That's the
only
thing I
food.
eat out of a can. That's it. I don't eat veggies out of a can. I don't eat fruits out of a can anymore, like fruit cocktail and stuff. I won't eat.
You
that
won't eat
anymore.
fruit cocktail?
I mean, I will, but I don't.
beans.
Beans.
I don't
have
eat
to
a
come
lot
out
of
can.
beans. Good for your heart.
Baked beans. out of
No,
a
I hate
can.
baked beans.
You
Ugh.
hate baked beans.
Is that allowed from Texas?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't stand them. Cannot stand baked beans. I don't eat. I don't really eat a lot of beans.
I mean, ingredients that come in a can, like canned tomatoes that go in a
Yeah, I
sauce
do that.
and stuff. You'll
Yeah.
do that, but you won't eat something, just heat it and eat it.
Like
out
I'm
of
going
the
to heat
can.
up some green beans from the can. No, I'm not. I'm just.
chicken noodle soup.
Oh, I do eat soup.
Okay.
Yeah, soup, and tuna. That's pretty much it. Yeah, I do eat. I like soup. Yeah, beans.
Save that.
I like soup. You throw a random one in there with me. Holy cow! Well, that was I like that. I liked your timing on that though, Paulie. That really was good.
Yeah, save me
That
from
was
what
good.
I had no idea where I was going. Actually, I do want to get to that Lakers rumor because it is.
We don't have
Jesus
to.
God.
It's a
It's-
really
it's a rumor.
It's but it comes from a source that has been right about some things. And if you didn't see this one yesterday, it's pretty wild that you would have never imagined it could happen, but maybe it will happen.
You're doing
I'll
it
be
here or are
brief.
you teasing it.
I will be brief. I've teased it.
That's
we'll
our
get to it
tease.
That's
coming
our
up
tease.
after
that's,
a check.
That's what you want the
I
listeners
I will
to
be
think about,
brief.
As that we hope that they don't change the station during commercial break. That's
More
what-
topic wheel coming up
And
next
some Padres baseball.
on 97.3 The Fan. I have actually a whole gamut of topics that nobody likes. If you'd like me to bring
I'd
them to
love
the
to.
table here.
Yeah, things Ben likes that
Not
nobody
just
else does.
Lakers rumors, but I can talk some golf. I am playing a golf tournament tomorrow. It is the hardest format, I think, that you can play in a golf tournament.
Alternate shot.
Alternate shot.
I hit
with
one.
a partner.
You hit one.
And you just keep going until you hole out at the end of the hole.
Imagine playing with me. What a nightmare that would be. How bad.
It really,
it would
even
be.
for pros, even like at the Ryder Cup, they mostly hate the alternate shot format. You never get into a rhythm.
No.
You're not in places that you usually are because generally, even if a partner is similar to you in distance and stuff, they all put it in different spots. So you're playing out of unusual positions. But the worst part of it, of course, is that when you're playing golf and you're playing badly, who are you letting down? Yourself.
Yeah.
And you can deal with that. Anyone can deal with that. You can be bummed, but you're letting down yourself. It's so much worse when you feel like I'm letting someone else down.
It would be
in
the
a tournament.
worst. It would be the most anxiety-ridden thing ever.
So tomorrow morning, I am playing with Tim, who owns the Regal Seagull. We are partners in the GOAT alternate shot 2-man monthly tournament, and I am both excited about it and dreading it because it is by far the hardest format, I think, in golf.
I thought you were going to talk about the real golf tournament going on at Pebble Beach. If we were going to do golf,
The only thing that stunned me
I'd rather hear
yesterday
about the Lakers at this point.
is that they played. The weather was actually good.
It
It
was
was better
beautiful.
at Pebble Beach
Yeah.
yesterday than it was down here for sure.
I did watch Xander put 2 into the ocean, which was off the tee box, which was insane. I did see Rory McIlroy, Ben, he got a 2-stroke penalty, Paulie.
3, actually.
Was it 3?
Well,
'Cause
he was playing great. He was 6 under.
was 6 under.
And then he collapsed and he hit a ball into an unplayable lie. Okay. And it's a 1-stroke penalty to take a drop. But he was using an old rule of going back on a line, and apparently he misapplied the rule because they changed it back this year. So he had the 1-stroke penalty for the drop and then a 2-stroke penalty for
an illegal drop.
And so he took 3 extra strokes. He went from like 6 under to 1 under in a span of a couple of holes.
That
Actually,
is brutal.
Matthew Pavone, the guy who won at Torrey last week, had another great round. He had the best round at Pebble. He's in 3rd at 7 under. Thomas Dietrich, who was good at Pebble last week, he is 9 under. He's in the lead, and Cantlay is in 2nd at 8.
And the kid that just left Alabama to go pro is
dead last.
What's his name? Dunlap.
Nick Dunlap.
Paulie, remember the kid that won that tournament? Yeah, he was an amateur. Goes pro from Alabama. Comes out yesterday in his first pro event, and he is in dead last place. What's he at? 6 over?
4 over.
4 over.
Yeah.
Holy smokes! I was watching him, and you just see it. You're like, oh, I'm at the big time.
But
now.
for anyone who goes, he shouldn't have gone pro.
There were a lot of guys
cut. Even if he finishes last, he's going to make a ton of money.
Getting
He's
paid.
going to get some experience. It's probably still the right decision for him to go pro.
All right, give us this Lakers news that
So
you've been dying to talk about.
The reason why this caught my attention is this did not come from Woj or Shams or any of the NBA insiders. In fact, I don't know this guy, but he's a television anchor up in Los Angeles at KTLA named David Pingalore. And he tweeted, hearing from NBA peeps, LeBron James is at the top of the Lakers list to trade. Pelinka looking for the right team to dance and is close to a suitor. LBJ and AD both out tonight for the game. And I saw that and I go, who's this guy? He doesn't know anything. This is clickbait. Apparently, David Pingalore has been right on a couple of big NBA stories involving LeBron and the Lakers, his return to LA. He was ahead of the game on that. He had some Kawhi news that turned out to be right. He's not just a guy who just throws a bunch of stuff on the wall and something occasionally sticks. So it has actually started making some circles around the NBA that is it possible that the Lakers are looking to trade LeBron James? They're sitting at 500. LeBron has an option for next season, but he can opt out. He could become a free agent at the end of the year if he wanted. Is it time to blow it up, build around AD, who's locked up for the next few years, and go a little bit younger and change the direction? LeBron's having a great season. He's not the problem with the Lakers, but they obviously are a highly mediocre basketball team that plays great one night and then terrible the next night. And there's no consistency at all. The crazy thing is last night they had no LeBron or AD, and they won at Boston, one of their best wins of the season. But you can't You can't build a team that you don't know what kind of team's going to show up on any given night.
Forgive my ignorance. LeBron James has been in the league for 20 years.
Correct.
And you can just trade him at the drop. Does he have a? Is there? There's no.
I don't think
no
he has
trade?
a no trade.
Well, why?
I don't
Why
know.
wouldn't he have that?
I don't know.
Do they do
Seems
that
like
in
he could have-
basketball?
maybe
They
now-
do, don't they?
Just
They
to put
do.
all
There's There's a
speculation-
lot of rules that are in place. I don't know. It's very complex when you sign a contract. Like there is an automatic no trade for a while, but then within like certain amount of the end of the contract, there's like it goes away. If you try to get me to explain the NBA contract rules, they really are the most complicated, rules in all
the
of
cap
sports.
and everything else.
Everything that goes
it's-
along with NBA contracts.
It's insane. That to me feels a little bit odd. Having a guy of his stature, traded to the who? I mean, who's trading for LeBron?
Every team in the NBA,
Right.
I would assume.
Right, but like, who's going to give up, and what do they have to give up?
This is all for naught because Rich Paul went on ESPN this morning,
Said not
his
trade.
agent, and
Not
he
happening.
said, LeBron won't be traded. We're not asking to be traded. It's not happening.
Yeah. Well,
So
that
stop
guy-
asking.
Yeah, I'm not going to. Hey, will you trade LeBron, please?
I'm not going to. So quit asking.
Okay.
It's so hard because you got to make salaries match. and-
Yes.
I mean, to come up with an actual NBA trade seems like it's too much trouble to even go down the road. It's like, I'm a GM of an
God,
NBA
I'd be a
team.
great GM.
I know.
then.
I can't make this
I'm
work.
not
So I guess
Never mind.
While we're on this, I'm reading the ESPN story about Rich Paul saying no, he's not being traded. It says LeBron has a $51.4 million player option in his contract for next season. He has until June 29th to exercise that option.
Okay.
Bronny at USC, he's a candidate to enter the NBA draft. The draft is held June 26th and 27th. 2 days before LeBron has to decide on his option.
So Bronny could get drafted by the Knicks, and LeBron could say, "All right, I'm out."
opting
Or
and
he
I'm
can
going
get
to the
drafted
Knicks.
by the Lakers
Or
and
he can-
go, I'm staying.
I'm staying.
Interesting.
Ooh, very
So that
interesting.
will all be known before LeBron has to make that decision. I would assume, look, I mean, I don't know anything about running a team, but if I'm running an NBA team and you got the 52nd pick in the second round and Bronny hasn't been chosen yet, what do you have to lose? That guy's the player that you would have drafted in the second round, probably not going to contribute much anyways, and it's certainly not going to have as much of an impact as getting Bronny James and then being able to go get his dad, LeBron, because the money you're going to make in jersey sales
sure.
and merchant, all the marketing and all that, way more valuable than any
And
other
he's
draft
still
pick.
a great player.
Yeah,
Even
still
at
playing
his
really
age,
well.
he is defying age. He is worth it because with the NBA salary cap, you can't pay stars what they're worth.
Yeah.
LeBron is worth 10 times what he can actually get paid in the NBA because of the cap. So I think any team would be interested in bringing him along. You mentioned the Knicks. They're
rolling.
absolutely
What, 11
nine in a
straight?
row.
Nine
Nine
in a
in a row. Jalen Brunson looks like an MVP candidate right now, and they say Madison Square Garden right now is the place
Electric.
to be. Like it hasn't been in years,
30
decades,
years.
that Madison Square Garden is popping right now, which just happens to be the Lakers' next opponent. Tomorrow night, they play the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. I'd imagine that LeBron's going to try to be back for that one with the attention, although he missed the Boston game, which is also a huge one. And then they won, which, again, makes no sense what's going on right now, but that's what the talk is in the NBA this morning.
There you go. That's your NBA talk with Basketball Ben. We forgot the music, Paulie. We forgot. It's been so long. We forgot to play his intro music.
All right,
there it is. Love it.
All right,
I love it.
We'll get back to some Padres. I do also want to bring up that topic that you tweeted about yesterday. Super Bowl Saturday. Is it an idea the NFL would ever consider?
Why the
Like,
hell
why not? Why not?
Why don't they? Why don't they move it off from Sunday? Can't we move all of our parties to Saturday? Do it on the day where we don't mind having a couple of extra beers and, don't have to get up for most of us early the next morning. Why don't they move it to Saturday? Why does it have to be on Sunday? We'll get to that coming up. It's Ben and Woods on a Friday on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. See Patrick Mahomes getting body shamed a little bit.
I did.
For the video, shirtless video celebrating the AFC Championship win.
Man, people are really obsessed with other people's body. It makes you, I think it makes somebody feel better about themselves to take a shot at an absolutely elite, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, take a shot at his body and go, oh, look at you. Look at you, little doughy, little spare tire. I mean, he's not yoked. He doesn't have the world's greatest body.
Nor is that a requirement for the job.
He just happens to have an absolute missile for an arm and, a really good head on his shoulders as far as what to do with the football and when. I found out yesterday, my parents are in town. They're from East Texas. They live in East Texas. And my mom said, oh, yeah, her best friend is good friends with Patrick Mahomes' mom. Said she's the nicest lady you'll ever meet. And they have a home out there in East Texas as well. And I said, oh. My mom said, I'm going to try to get a signed football. I said, that'd be fantastic. That would be absolutely fantastic. Grab 2 if you can.
Well, you can tell by Patrick Mahomes' response, which was poking fun at himself.
Yeah.
Oh, dad bod. Dad bod.
He's a dad.
He was definitely raised pretty well, and he's got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know that all the people that he associates with have that same quality, but Patrick Mahomes still feels like one of the good ones, and it's probably why I'm going to be pulling for the Chiefs, I think, in the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
coming up.
That's my pick too. That's my pick.
And people, well, he's not Tom Brady. Tom Brady laughed because someone called him the GOAT, and Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT, and Brady's whatever.
He doesn't have the rings yet, but boy, he's on a really good path.
The
GOAT path. Yeah, really good path.
I didn't realize that. Tom Brady ended up with 7 Super Bowl rings?
Yeah.
But there was almost a 10-year period in the middle of his career where they didn't win one.
Right.
He was it was a decade between, it was his third one, and then when he got beat the Seattle Seahawks in that Super Bowl where they didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch. But that ended like a decade drought for Tom Brady. Just think about that. You can be the GOAT, still go an entire 10-year period without winning a Super Bowl in your career.
100%.
And Patrick Mahomes, he's still just getting started early in his career and all the things he's accomplished already. He absolutely could go on and equal or surpass Tom Brady's accomplishments.
Brady lost 3.
Yeah, lost 3
additional Super Bowls.
Oh my God, man!
You think about
insane.
just getting there is such an accomplishment.
4 out of 5 years for Patrick Mahomes already.
That's insane, man.
Crazy.
And they did his playoff record. What's his playoff record? Like 14-3 or something.
16-3.
16-3, the same as Tom it's nuts.
Now, think about how insane it was for the Padres to get to the NLCS.
Yeah.
And how unbelievably cool that was for all of us involved as Padres fans. Freaking Chiefs have gone to 6 straight
100%
AFC championships.
Yeah,
6 straight.
The Pats. That's why I never you hear the woe is me from Boston. Bro, you had the best run in sports history. You should always have that to hang your hat on. That was incredible. Now the Chiefs are that too.
Watching the end of that game over the weekend, you see the post-game celebrations on the field getting underway, and I was watching an equipment guy going around passing out hats.
Yep.
He's a team employee. Those guys, that's their job. They're there for years and years and years. Players come and go. And I go, if you're just one of the team manager or an equipment guy or something like that, you just plan on your season doesn't end at the beginning of January like everybody else.
Don't
You're
book any vacations.
We're planning on riding this thing out until at least the end of January.
Now, the reason why the GOAT talk is laughable is because a big part of being the GOAT, maybe the most important part of being any sports GOAT, is longevity, is doing it over an extended period of time. You can't be the GOAT by having a good 5-year run. You've got to keep it going. And if Patrick Mahomes keeps it going, absolutely that's going to be a fair conversation to have at some point. The team success, the individual success, it's all been there so far. But he's got to do it another decade at least. And then you can start having the conversation that, I think he was better than Tom Brady in his career. But now you can't have that conversation.
Well, and of course, the winning that last game of the season, that's the biggest one. And that's the one we wanted to talk about today.
The one that happens on Sunday every year. But should it happen on Sunday? We'll talk about that right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change, your 15-minute instant drive-thru oil change. Crash has cleared on northbound 15 at the 805, so speeds are getting back to normal there. Southbound 125 past Grossmont, two-car collision in the center divide. Now getting reports of a collision on southbound 15 near Villa Rancho Parkway. No details as to whether that's blocking lanes. And westbound 78 before Mar Vista. Accident involving a couple vehicles. That's over the right shoulder. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Drive-Thru Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car, and it usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for discounts and locations nearest you. Valvoline Oil Change Centers are open 7 days a week. I'm Kelly Danik with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
One of the funnier tweets I've seen in a while. My Sports Update tweets, the Chiefs have removed wide receiver Kadarius Toney from the injury report. He was a full go today at practice. And then a guy named Jordan tweets in, huge blow for the Chiefs ahead of ahead of the Super Bowl, getting a healthy receiver back. Huge blow to the Chiefs.
You happy now, Kadarius?
Yeah.
We're not saying you're hurt anymore.
It may move the line.
When you don't play in the Super Bowl, it's on no one but you now.
So good.
So good. Don't want to make anyone sad, but we're down to the last couple of Boomer and Valenti's this year. Tonight, 7 o'clock, your chance to
I will be there.
Hear Boomer and Valenti on the bye week in between the Super Bowl, talking here on 97.3 The Fan. It is brought to you by Casamigos, brought to you by those who drink it, and Lowe's. Lowe's knows home improvement. So this was a topic that is not brand new, but it was making the rounds again yesterday. One of the national hosts, I think, was talking about
Dan
it.
Patrick, the GOAT.
Well, Dan Patrick, yes.
The
Dan Patrick.
greatest of all time.
host.
The national host. The only one worth a flip.
The idea that the Super Bowl should be played on Saturday rather than Sunday.
I got a grassroots campaign that I want to run by you. And I want you to tell me if you like it and what we can do. So it's something to think about when it comes to when the Super Bowl is played. If we have 2 weeks in between conference title games and the Super Bowl, how about we play the Super Bowl on the Saturday instead of the Sunday 2 weeks after the AFC, NFC title games? Who's with me?
Everybody.
Yes. Wouldn't it be great that you have all of this time so both teams get plenty of rest? Saturday is the Super Bowl. Sunday you get to recover.
His desk gives me massive anxiety. It looks like he's in a junkyard, sitting at a desk with a microphone.
It's a bit cluttered.
In a junkyard.
It's a bit cluttered, but that's their look.
Hi, this is the Dan Patrick Junkyard. Would you like to drop something off? There is more crap on that desk than anything I've ever seen. All right, that's just as an aside. He's the greatest of all time. I love Dan Patrick so much. He is absolutely right. There is no reason to have it on a Sunday.
What's the argument?
The argument, I think, is tradition. Now, our beloved Adam Klug last night, when I tweeted this out, he's thinking like a brand manager, okay? So I tweeted, I can't think of one decent argument against it. And he said something to the effect of, oh, here it is. It's all about Super Bowl. I'm all about Super Bowl Saturday. If you're asking for any argument against it, the only one I can think of is that the NFL gets tons of media coverage the following day on radio and TV, and there's fewer live shows on Sunday than Monday. Feels less urgent to discuss 2 days later. I disagree. I think that it's the Super Bowl. It's the final
They'll
game.
still get plenty
You're still
of
going to get. It's
coverage.
going to be your lead story everywhere.
Gonna Bensplain just for a second, but the reason why Saturday makes sense is because everyone goes to a Super Bowl party, and when it happens on Sunday, late in the day, it makes it harder to go to work on Monday.
It makes it.
This is
it's terrible.
basically what we're talking
That's
about, right?
exactly what we're talking about.
And while on the West Coast, the game ends around 7-ish, and you can get out of there at a reasonable hour. Like, okay, game's over. Say goodbye to everybody. You're home by 8.
Talking
On the-
9:30, 10,
on the
10:30.
East Coast,
Yeah.
especially, the game doesn't even end until 10. And if you stay at all for like the post game, the trophy, anything like that, you're not done with your party. And you've had a few, no doubt about it. And you're getting home at 11:30. Last thing a lot of people want to do is wake up on Monday morning and go to work after the Super Bowl. Put it on Saturday. solves almost all of those issues for people with a normal Monday to Friday schedule.
Now, I've also heard the standard is we'll just make Monday a national holiday. That, to me, like, I see some of the national holidays we have, and I go, oh, all right, cool. I mean, day off for me, I'm fine. I don't got to come up with any content or anything like that. That's great. But I just think you've moved playoff games to Saturdays now. You have shown that you're willing to do it. You know, there's playoff games on Saturdays now. Just move the biggest game of the year to a Saturday. I think it will help businesses tremendously. They already get a really nice boost from, Super Bowl parties and things like that. But you're more apt to cut loose. You're more apt to spend some money knowing tomorrow is a day to lay on the couch and DoorDash and not have to do much. Now, I'm a father of two. I won't have one beer during the Super Bowl. I probably won't catch one commercial during the Super Bowl. It's probably going to be right around what I like to call in my home crunch time. I'm screwed either way. But for 21-year-old me, 25-year-old me in the working world, dude, it was a nightmare. My bit I did every year. Yeah, I'll come to your Super Bowl party. Yeah, I'll have a few. And then I'm going to Uber home at halftime. And I never stayed for a full one. Now, I don't stay for a lot of stuff anyway, but that was always the move. Like, yeah, I'll watch up until halftime. And 99% of the time, I'm like, I don't care about seeing CNC Music Factory at the Super Bowl. I'll just take a cab home and go from there.
Don brings up the point, what about people who spend Saturday getting their party set up for Sunday?
Do it on Friday, Don.
Taking time to
Do it on
make
Saturday
your buffalo
morning,
chicken
Don.
dips.
Don, you got all day.
Friday
Wings and
afternoon
everything.
and evening.
Friday afternoon, evening, and all day Saturday till the party.
I'll put on my Adam Klug type marketing hat. Because I don't care. If I'm the NBA and they move it to Saturday, I'm fine. I can move my games. You don't want to compete against the Super Bowl. Like the Phoenix Waste Management Open, they like to end it right early, like at 3 o'clock, right before the game. NBA, there's usually an early game. This year, Boston, Miami, 11 a.m. Once the Super Bowl, the stage is clear. There are no other sports going on. But
I don't even know why TV stations run programming.
But if the Super Bowl was moved to a Saturday, I clear my Saturday schedule. I would then try to do something big on Sunday. Like if I was the NBA, I might move the All-Star game to that Sunday to try to fill like a void in the sports world on that Sunday that used to be Super Bowl Sunday.
I've heard the other option is, for so long there was a big gap, like a 2-week gap between the end of the Super Bowl and then like pitchers and catchers reporting for us. That's what we care about. Now that you've added the extra regular season game, this season has extended even longer. The Super Bowl is going to be on Sunday the 11th this year. What if they started the season 1 week later and made it so that the Super Bowl always landed on the Sunday before President's Day? Then that is a holiday.
Yep.
Everybody gets it off. And if ESPN wants to have Stephen A. Smith and the crew come in on President's Day to react to the Super Bowl, everybody can still do that. But the majority of the hardworking American folk are going to be off that day.
Yep.
And there you go. Problem solved.
Yeah, problem solved. Move it to President's Day weekend. And, you're
an extra bye week for everybody in the season.
Yeah, it'd be
good
great.
for health and wellness for everybody. Now, shortens the offseason even more. But the NFL has the longest offseason.
Yep.
It's usually February
Well, there is
all the way
essentially
until
no off season. Like the NFL is always top of mind.
It's
because
always
the
top.
combine,
It's always top
and
of
then
mind.
it's the
but
draft, and then it's mini camps and OTAs, and then it's training camp, and then it's preseason, and then we're back to.
But when you
week
think
one.
about it, like most players are, if you don't make the playoffs, you're done first week of January, and you don't. Yeah, there's mini camps, and you show up for a weekend here or there, but you don't show up until training camp until the start of August, end of July. So that is January, February, March, April, May, June. You got 7 straight months where you don't have daily practices, any games to worry about. In baseball, even if you don't make the playoffs, you are playing into the early October, and you're back daily spring training middle of February. That's 4.5 months. So the baseball offseason is nearly a quarter of the year shorter than the football offseason, which is already really long. So if you added a week, I don't think it'd harm anyone to shorten the offseason a little bit.
I don't think so either. And there's people in the chat saying, well, maybe just don't drink on Sunday. Yeah, obviously, that's an option. But I hated I like when big games are on the weekends when I have a day off the next day to recover, whether it's watching the game, eating too much, drinking too much, whatever. I like that little buffer day.
I don't
We all
remember who said it. Somebody in the chat was saying that, like WWE, for example, they moved all their big pay-per-view fights. They used to be on Sunday nights. Now they're on Saturdays. And I started thinking about like MMA, boxing. A lot of those big matches are on Friday or Saturday nights.
Of course.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, the Super Bowl Sunday, if it's a tradition, Super Bowl Saturday rolls off the tongue as well, just like Super Bowl Sunday.
What about starting the Super Bowl like 2 hours early?
I'm down with that too. Start that sucker at noon, man.
There's
no problem.
There's no reason we need 6 hours of pregame show.
Oh, I bet you the players would be all for it. Nobody wants to pace around that much. You want to get that thing going, man, ASAP.
And I'm sure there's some ratings reason, but
of course.
Is anyone not going to watch the Super Bowl because it started at 1:30 instead of 3:30?
No.
Oh, now I can't watch. I was going to watch, but
I told you.
Your day is built around the Super Bowl anyway. Let's start it a couple hours earlier.
I mean, I've seen the tweet before. Maybe they should have concerts at like 5 p.m. for some of us older parents. I would sign up for a 5 p.m. show.
It's
any day of the
probably
week.
because of whatever the network that pays for the Super Bowl. They always put on like some debut show afterwards, and they want people to like
Stick
be
around
sitting down for the 8 o'clock on the East Coast, like 10, 11 o'clock, and that new show premieres. They don't want to premiere a new show at 6 in the evening or something.
I mean, what a lead in. The Super Bowl.
Yeah,
it's like the best one you can have. And then Ben and Woods a close second. But after that, it really falls off dramatically. But I think, yeah, it would be great. It'd be great to do it. The media is still going to cover your game, whether they come in on Tuesday, whether they come in on Monday, with a 24-hour lag time, they're still going to talk about the Super Bowl.
Well, and the other part of it is on Sunday, what is everybody talking about on Saturday? Still the Super Bowl, even if there's other games.
Yep.
I mean, every day you push it back is another day the NFL owns the media cycle.
I'm all for it, my friend. Thank you, Dan Patrick. If Dan Patrick is running the grassroots campaign, you actually have a better shot to do it. Our buddy Bro Haver tweets, and this is assuming everyone works a Monday to Friday job. I'm off Mondays and Tuesdays. Super Bowl Sunday's fine. Yeah, for him, he's got the Monday off.
Yeah. I've worked every Super Bowl Sunday for the last 10 years. I'm taking it off this year.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
A lot of people do take the day off as well. You can go ahead and submit for PTO the day after the Super Bowl as well. That's an option. But as it stands, Benny, I don't think they'll ever change it. It's a deep and rich tradition, but I would be all for it.
One other NFL note from yesterday. We were on when the Commanders hired Dan Quinn as their head coach. I thought
as I speculated.
I thought the hiring of Cliff Kingsbury, though,
I did not see that.
offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Ooh.
It was an interesting move.
Okay.
And combining him with Antonio Pierce. I'd be pretty excited as a Raiders fan for that combination, actually.
Well, and the other news, too, yesterday, Colin Cowherd actually talked about this on his show. I think he was talking out of his rear end, which he's been known to do from time to time. He said Caleb Williams and his team have no interest in going to the Chicago Bears, and it would be a situation where he would not play for the Chicago Bears. Again, this is Colin Cowherd, not me. Some people in the comments are saying that's completely made up. But he also mentioned he may be interested in playing for the Raiders of Las Vegas. So then you're really excited. If you can find a way.
And combine him with Cliff Kingsbury as offensive coordinator.
Could be fairly interesting.
I would say if that's not true and the Bears do want Caleb Williams, Justin Fields in the Raiders also would be
100%.
an interesting option if there was a trade that could be made there to pair him with a team that honestly played pretty well at the end of the season under Antonio Pierce. They're sticking with him. They're adding a coordinator that people can be excited about. You look at the point was made a couple of times yesterday. Jim Harbaugh may be the win of the offseason by hiring him, but it doesn't change the basic facts that Patrick Mahomes is still in your division.
Yep.
The Chiefs are still in your division. I mean, Harbaugh said, I want to win multiple championships. Try winning a division title in the AFC West and see how hard that is, first of all. Usually your playoff road, if you get there, starts with a road wild card game every year because that is a division that's going to be very hard to win with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs not going anywhere.
They're not going anywhere. That's exactly right. And, other teams in that division making moves as
We're
well.
not going anywhere.
Yeah. Still second, third, or fourth place in that division. Not going anywheres. And with the Raiders looking like they're making some smart moves as well, I mean, Broncos, come on, let's get going.
Yeah, speed it up, get up to snuff.
All right, we are down to the final hour of the week of Ben and Woods. Paulie's got some Randall Report headlines, including a tweet that Woods sent us yesterday that was pretty amazing.
God.
And then we've got Trevor Baptiste of the Seals.
Oh, yes.
Who Woods said, the best in the world at his particular skill.
In the world.
Coming up ahead here on 97.3 The Fan.
Seven. Lol. LOL. Can't remember the last time I slept till 7. 7. 7.
You can sleep in, though, for our FanFest show, because that's not until noon. But we did get official word that we will be broadcasting live from Padres Fan Fest on March 24th, Sunday, March 24th, at Petco Park. I'm not sure where in the ballpark we'll be located. Last year, we were down the first base line. I believe. Yeah.
Kind of over by, there's like a pizza port in the right field corner.
That's right.
A Cravery cookie stand.
Not too far away. Yeah,
right
we're
before
down
you get to
there.
the little ramps that go down to the outfield area.
The team was really cool last year. They brought us, I think all 3 shows were out there. At least a couple of shows were out there, and they brought us some guests throughout the afternoon. I think we had Crony, Jesse Agler stopped by, and I think we had Hoffy.
Yeah,
or
we
Scanlon.
did. We always have Hoffy. Love it.
So we have officially received the approval that will be happening again.
That's one of those. We'll let you know once it's all confirmed, and we know they'll tell us who's coming by. But if you don't want to wait in line, there's a chance.
I don't know.
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
Jake signed like 20 autographs
He did.
when he was there.
He did. He got mauled.
Be polite though. Don't be pushy. If he won't sign,
It was pushy.
Woods will sign for you.
I will not. I will sign for you, but you don't want mine. We'll
Woods is going to hire a security guard.
Bring the value down of your card.
We talked earlier about the Corbin Burns trade, the Baltimore Orioles picking up their top of the rotation guy, a 1-year rental for not the biggest of prospect hauls, but when you kind of dig deeper, there's definitely some things to like about DL Hall and Joey Ortiz, the 2 guys that the Brewers did get. They're, of course, playing the cheaper, longer game. The Orioles, though, their fans, if any fan base, other than the Padres in the last couple of years, has deserved some good things to happen, I think the Baltimore Orioles have suffered long enough that this is very exciting for them, that they are unabashedly now going for it and can be considered an American League and even World Series top contender going into this season.
Yeah, I saw the response on Twitter, and it did bring back some. And I was happy for them. It wasn't an envious type situation because we've had a lot of fun, man, being Padres fans the last few years, right? A lot of fun. Great off seasons, big acquisitions, huge marquee players. It hasn't always worked out. I will give you that certainly. But that rush that they got yesterday, seeing their team go out and make a move for a Corbin Burns,
it made me sad.
Did it?
Mostly for like the big picture, just the spot that the Padres are in. Like you mentioned earlier, okay, if the Padres only have like $20 to $25 million to spend,
don't spend
you
it
can't
there.
spend $15 million on Corbin Burns. Totally agree with you. It's the fact that that's where we're at.
Yeah,
right
but you're
now
still
that made me
talking.
sad.
You're still talking about a payroll that's going to be in the top 10, maybe even higher. I understand it, man. It had it all worked out. People would have had it all worked out for the absolute best it could work out. People would be okay with a transition year. They would be more than okay, right? Because they're still drunk from the World Series parade. You don't care at all. You're like, all right, we'll let him go. Fine, we've got ours, right? We talked about that when we got Juan Soto. We said it's a lot to give up. It's a tremendous haul. But if you get a ring, who cares? Who cares? Now, it didn't work out. Not only that, you only got one playoff appearance with Juan Soto here. It sets you back, man. It sets you back, and it puts a bitter taste in your mouth.
Now, in the old days,
I don't know that the Soto trade is what set us back.
No, but it did set you back.
Yeah, but not nearly as much as some of the contract signings.
Well, yeah,
we've
of
had.
course.
Well, let's say they had kept Juan Soto
for this year.
Yeah, but also we're trying to reduce payroll.
Right.
Who's pitching for this team?
Correct. Yeah.
I mean,
Joe and you every other day.
I mean,
Matt Waldron and
who is pitching for this team?
Pedro Avila.
It's incredibly. I mean, yeah, the outfield is a little more taken care of, but
We're still asking that question even with the Soto
the pitching.
trade.
Yeah, even with the Soto trade, we're not 100% locked in with the pitching staff. Without the Soto trade, without Snell, without Waka, without Lugo, without Martinez, the pitching staff really would probably be too bare to even think of the Padres as being a contender.
Right, even with Juan Soto.
They might actually be more of a contender thanks to that trade than they were with Juan Soto and no pitching staff at all.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen, but you're right as far as the sheer number of players involved, and I was happy for them because they have been much maligned in Baltimore for many years, and we talked I think recently about their. They have a really nice tradition of winning as well in Baltimore, and had some really good teams over the years. And to see what the Angelos family did to them over and over. They had some of the scariest freaking teams, man, back in the day that you're like, oh, God, I hope we don't play the Orioles in the first round. And with excellent players. And they just could never get over the hump. And now they are on such a great and healthy path.
One last just looking at their it's been a long time for them. Orioles fans. I mean, they've got 3 World Series championships.
Yep, they do.
66, 70, and 83.
Yep.
That was the last time they won the pennant, was 1983.
Damn, that's a long time.
They won the AL East, obviously, last year. They won it back in 2014. Before that, it was 1997. And then before that, 1983. Like, it's been a long time. They have the success in their history, but it's been a while.
One last thought on the Burns trade. I still have that old mentality. Well, at least the Padres won't have to face him when you get traded to the American League. With the balanced schedule, though,
you'll get him.
You still face you're going to play the Orioles at one point, so you might hit Corbin Burns, you might not. You're only playing the Brewers twice. However, the Brewers are a team that you can see competing for one of those wild card spots in the National League. They're always kind of right around there, whether it's a division title or an 85 kind of win team. And they're absolutely a team that if you're the Padres and you're trying to, sneak your way to 86 wins and get into the playoffs, that the Brewers could be a team that you were worried about. So, if they don't have Corbin Burns, that could come into play when it comes to a playoff chase at the end of the season.
Yeah, and, new manager there in town as well. And, yeah, we'll see. We'll see but you're really bummed if you're a Brewers
Who did they
fan.
hire?
Pat Murphy.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
They promoted Pat Murphy to their manager.
Yep.
All right, let's get to the Rundle Report.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rundle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right. Good morning, my friends.
Good morning.
Happy Friday. Start off with some news here in football. Saw this story, Pro Football Talk had this. So the timeline here. University of Washington goes to the national championship game, loses to Michigan. Nick Saban retires at Alabama. Kalen DeBoer, the Washington head coach, leaves for Alabama, takes that job, took with him a lot of players, his coaching staff. That's standard. Along with one of those coaches was the offensive coordinator for Washington, Ryan Grubb, who was hailed all season long. I mean, they had the most prolific offense. He's the guy. So he went with DeBoer to Alabama. I get that. It says here he may be heading back to the state of Washington, but not to the University of Washington. They've already hired, they took, who was it, Jed Fish, Arizona's coach?
Yes, they hired Arizona's coach who did a great job for the Wildcats.
Yep. So he's not going back to Washington for the Huskies. He could be going back to Washington to be the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks, who just hired Michael McDonald. Talked about that the other day. But yeah, I started to think, I was reading that story and I go, hey, that's a smart move. A lot of people are like, oh, he's not just ready. He's absolutely ready to be an NFL OC
coordinator.
And I go, I wonder if he gets on the phone. He's like, hey, you haven't sold that house yet, right? You might be coming back.
So he took the gig at Alabama and now he's like, oh, NFL's calling.
Did you see the stories that Chip Kelly's been interviewing for offensive coordinator jobs in the NFL? He's the head coach at UCLA.
Yeah, head coach.
And a Big Ten school now, mind you.
Yep.
And he'd rather maybe be an offensive coordinator in the NFL. That's not a good look for UCLA, is it?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. No, never mind. I'll just go being a coordinator.
It's kind of hard to come back. All right, boys, I'm ready to lead you. Men, here we go.
Yeah, once I saw those tweets, I'm going, is he done as UCLA head coach now? Just the fact that he's out there. Yeah, I'll take a lesser job in the NFL rather than have to coach this UCLA team in the Big Ten where we're going to get absolutely trucked every week.
A lesser title in the NFL is still better than most
college head coaching.
Yeah, but a Big Ten school,
yep,
he knows, right? They're going to get
throttled.
They're going to get trucked every week in the Big Ten. It's He's like, can you get me out of here?
Yeah, I'll take whatever you got.
Not a good sign.
Smart. You leave. That's when you do it.
Yeah.
That's when you do it.
All right, one more story here in football. I did not know this. Teddy Bridgewater, fun quarterback in his time.
Yep.
He retired. I had no idea.
Did not hear that either.
He recently retired after about 10 years in the league, and he has already got a new job. He's going to be the head coach at his alma mater, Miami Northwestern Senior High School. And I was reading about this. They said he never really left. Even when he was in the NFL, he was always coming back to visit the high school, help out with the program, whether financially or help out with some coaching. He was always still there, always had a presence at the high school. And now he has become the head coach. He's only 31 years old.
I was just going to say, I just looked that up and I go, I would have lost that bet. If you had said over under 35, I would have gone over.
Yeah, he was
31.
the 2014 first-round pick for the Vikings. Wow. And he's already just hung him up. And now he's taken like that Phillip Rivers path, going to coach high school football.
I go back to my high school a lot and try to give back, but they don't want me. They don't remember me. They don't know who I am. Does anybody need any help on broadcasting? Anybody at all?
I have not been to my high school since I left that last day.
I don't think I've been back.
I'm not
either.
big into alumni activities, which is funny because right after the show, I'm supposed to meet this woman for coffee who's been trying to set up a meeting with me for like a year about like donating to my college and
at Pomona.
At Pomona, I've told her I don't really
Does
have
she
much
know
to
who
donate.
She's like, yeah. Do you know who I am? In the other way, I'm not giving you a nickel.
Colonel Budget here. Probably not giving much to a school that's fairly well endowed and tuitions, whatever.
Okay.
It's girthy. It's a very girthy school. Length,
Down,
very long.
it's like money in a bank account for a college.
Right.
But I'll meet,
Why?
You know how it's going to go. You already know how the story ends.
I've already told her too, but if there's another way I can help, like
what?
Like the golf team or something.
Doing what?
I don't know.
How far is it?
Taking the meeting.
How far is it?
How far is what?
Your college from here? 6 hours?
No, it's like an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, that's it?
Pomona? Yeah,
thought it
it's
was
just up
further.
to 15 at the 10.
That's the farthest you've ever lived away from home, isn't it?
It is.
You help with the golf team how?
I don't know. But my buddy wanted me to meet with her. One of our tier ones, Hal, has emailed to just meet with her. Just fine. I will meet with her. I will have coffee. We can discuss things. It's fine.
You can teach them how to talk in their friend's backswing.
That's possible.
When they're trying to get out of a sand trap, maybe. Hey, narrate your entire round, shot by shot. Ben, she's not going to get a nickel out of you.
I don't think so.
Give her $100. Offer her $100.
Maybe.
This is like the Sopranos episode where Tony gets shook down. I'll give $5.
Should I go to
they
the
want
ATM
50.
before we get there just to get it all done
Give
with?
her $100.
Just take it.
This just comes out, too. I haven't heard about this.
Yeah, a year she's been tracking you
She's
down?
been after you for a year?
Yeah.
Can't you just write like a $500 check at the beginning of the year and be done?
I don't want to.
You'd rather go sit at coffee with somebody to say no.
She wants to do a face-to-face.
Do you think she's going to be able to sway you?
No.
Will you be strong?
I don't know what she's going to ask for.
Money.
I have no idea.
She's going to ask you for money.
Is that what they do?
Yes.
Holy crap. He doesn't tell us. This. Remember when I told you? Stop coming up with ideas. Bring me just your mundane
I was going to
stories.
tell you on Monday after how it went. Something new for Monday to look forward to.
This is fantastic, man. This is fantastic. And on a Friday, after a long, arduous week,
there's not a chance.
He gets dragged. I would have told her.
I know.
There's no way.
I've said we've like thought about it like for months and tried to come up with dates, and I can't do it. She said, I'm in town on this Friday. Do it after your show. Just grab a quick coffee. It's like, fine. Check it off my box. I will do it. I will talk.
You are such a gem. Such a gem.
All right, finally, my last story here.
It's a banger.
God, this post, man. Somebody sent this over to me, and they sent over a quote tweet. Now, the quote tweet said, I'll give you 1,000,000 guesses as to what this tweet below is in response to. You won't think about it. Yep. And the tweet in question was from James 708898886. And it says, Please put walls between urinals in the men's bathroom at Citi Field Mets. This is 2024. Men feel uncomfortable and don't pee next to men urinating. Fights can happen when men look at the of other men. At CBS New York, at NBC New York, at Fox 5 New York, at Stephen A. Cohen 2, at New York Post, at New York Daily News.
The owner, the newspapers.
And then you scroll up. Like, that alone is a wild post. But when you scroll up in what it was response to, yesterday, the Mets, at Mets, tweeted out a graphic, and they wrote, we are proud to celebrate hashtag Black History Month throughout the month of February.
He has put that response, though, on about 1,000 Mets tweets. I went and dug deep into his timeline yesterday.
The tweet that I just read, though, has been viewed over 10 million times.
So he wants partitions between the urinals. There's not a trough, I don't think, where that now,
There should be.
Let's be honest.
There should be.
I heard at the old Qualcomm, it was just the metal trough.
Oh, yeah.
I remember the trough.
The fear.
Done my business in that trough many a time.
The panic that you get when you walk in there, you're like, okay, this is here. Here we go. How you doing? Like your shoulder to shoulder with a guy.
Yeah.
But if it's just urinals, you don't need a partition between the different urinals.
You should have one.
No, you don't need one.
Absolutely should have.
No, it's unnecessary. You can turn if you're afraid. You can turn a certain way. You know, we have in between ours. There's a partition.
I mean, this is very American. I remember when I went to my trip to Italy. Sometimes you go to the bathroom. It's just a hole in the floor.
It's a hole in the floor with multiple people standing around it. How you doing?
Absolutely.
Good. How are you? Oh, better than you are. Right?
You mentioned that he had.
He's put it on 1,000 tweets.
Yeah, that's his.
It's a shtick.
The hill that he's willing to die on.
He really wants
and I
those
went and looked.
partitions.
James 708-89886. I'll put his camera or his photo, his profile picture there on the YouTube stream. Oh, James, what are we doing?
He really wants it. Do men get in fights? I have not
actually seen a fight.
And what would the fight
out.
be over?
That's a good question. What's
What are you fighting over? What the?
I think it was a cell phone, maybe. Like,
Maybe a
is he
cell
jealous?
phone. But like, what kind of fights has there? Look at him. It's like Eric Katsenda a little bit. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's just the images.
Don't make fun of anybody else. That could start.
Is that a fight?
If someone else is making fun.
Yes, you're going to start a fight.
That would just be rude in the bathroom.
Maybe somebody else is looking at him and laughing.
You call
and
that a
he's
penis?
punching them.
Right. I've seen plenty of fights at the ballpark. I didn't know they were over wieners. I had no idea. Maybe I missed that entirely. Thank you, Paulie. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So on Paulie's rundown, he asked the question here coming up in our next segment. What can Ben tell us about the Utah State Aggies, who are San Diego State's opponent tomorrow in basketball?
It's a big one, Benny.
Here's what I can tell you. They have, I think, undisputably, the greatest player in college basketball history. I will explain when we come back.
Oh, okay.
After traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. This hour of Ben and Woods is brought to you by the Farmer's Dog. Welcome back. Like most of my teases, what I said before the break is technically accurate.
He just
clever
he
and
told
also
us, he told us
quite
the punchline.
misleading.
Oh my God!
When I said Utah State has the greatest college basketball player of all time.
I'm so ready to go.
He's actually a very good player. In fact, according to the metrics, Jaden Ledee and Utah State big man Great Osabor are the two best players in the Mountain West. But his name is Great, Great. So he is literally the greatest player in college basketball history because that is his name. But there's a good chance that the game will be decided by those two guys underneath and who has the better game between the two.
I wish your mom would have named you Clever Higgins. I'm the most clever in town. His name's Great Osabu?
Great Osabor.
Osabor.
6'8", 250.
Ooh, God.
Ledee is leading slightly in scoring in the conference. Osabor is leading Ledee slightly in rebounding at the top of the conference. But they're about the same size. Ledee's 6'9", 240. Osabor 6'8", 250. And they will be going toe-to-toe tomorrow afternoon at Viejas Arena with the Aztecs can't move into first place because Utah State only has one loss. But if they win, they'll be back within a game of a very tightly packed conference standings. If the Aztecs lose, they will be 3 back with 9 to play and still have to go to Utah State. Pretty much game over when it comes to regular season conference titles. So, hugely important game tomorrow for the Aztecs, and they'll have to find a way to shut down the greatest player in college basketball, Great Osabor.
We'll see, too, Benny, if the home cooking happens tomorrow. And if because those two are going to be going toe-to-toe underneath. We'll see if Jaden gets the majority of the calls or if Great Osabor gets the calls.
Yeah, Mark Ziegler had an interesting stat about the Aztecs. When Jaden Ledee attempts 8 or more free throws in a game, just attempts 8 or more, the Aztecs are 9-0. When he does not, they are 4-5 against D1 competition.
Tough to shoot free throws when they never call foul. They never give you fouls.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
So, and he has written as well about the phenomenon that has been studied by, researchers, psychological researchers when it comes to referees and the subconscious tendency to give more calls to the home team. They even have a name for it. It's called influence conformity.
It makes perfect sense, dude.
Even
bad
when you know
as it
your
is.
job is to be neutral,
Yes.
and you're thinking, I am completely unbiased, I don't care about either of these teams, when you have a giant crowd of, 15,000 people screaming, and there's a part of your brain that you don't even know about that is going, if I do this, they're all going to go crazy happy. And if I do this, they're all going to go crazy mad.
Yep.
Your brain, without even, you're not going through it. I don't think referees sit there
Mentally
and go,
thinking.
I'm going to make this call because it's going to make the crowd delighted. But there's somewhere below your actual, thinking level, your subconscious level, that makes you think you saw a foul or didn't see a foul because your brain does or doesn't want you to call it because of the reaction you're going to get from the crowd.
Bro, all you have to do is watch some of the referees from time to time when they're reffing a home game. They were doing it in the last Aztecs game. The guy was the most demonstrative, boom, pointing, doing bits and stuff the whole time.
Why? It felt personal.
Because the place, yes, it felt personal, Paulie. The place goes nuts.
The greatest example of influence conformity of all time involving an official is Frank Drebin in the Naked Gun. But that's essentially what we're talking about. Influence conformity on official.
You see it. He goes strike, and the place goes up, and he turns around. He's like, "Oh my God, steer right!" My father, Gary Woods, who may be listening right now, I thought he urinated himself. The first time we watched that movie together, he was convulsing, dude. He thought it was the funniest thing. So then I started laughing when I see that scene. Talk about a flood of great memories and dopamine. But yes, What a brilliant pull. I was waiting for him to be like, Big East official Fred Jackson in 1984, and he pulls.
Come on, Woods, you remember that?
You remember? Oh, God, here I go. He's going to embarrass me again. Frank Drebin. Yes, you're right.
Influence conformity.
And then the best one of it. So after he calls a strike, the very next pitch is a quarter of the way there, and he goes, Steve, right? I die every time I see that movie.
You got Eric Gregg here.
Oh, my God, Betty, what a great pull. Thank you so much for that.
So keep an eye out that, the Aztecs should be getting the calls tomorrow because they're at home, and you got the Viejas Arena crowd that'll be going crazy.
Frank Drebin in the stripes tomorrow.
All right, we've got one segment left, and looking forward to this. We're going to have a conversation with Trevor Baptiste of the San Diego Seals, who Woods has told us is the best at his particular job.
Yep.
Out of anyone on the planet. He does it better than anybody else. And we'll talk to Trevor in our final segment of Ben and Woods next on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Your pipes ready to go? You've had a nice long layoff.
You know, it's they are going to be fine, I think. Be doing the PA on Sunday at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, for our beloved San Diego Seals, first place San Diego Seals. Been doing the PA there. I've never missed a home game. I feel good. I'm at about 80% right now. Got a kid's birthday party tonight, Bo's birthday party. And then my folks will have Bo and Taylor all day tomorrow. All day. Like, they're yours. And so I'm going to get rested up. Hannah and I have a little anniversary lunch we're doing. We've moved it because we can't eat at 7:30 p.m. That's too late for us. So we're going to lunch. Yeah, going to do lunch instead. So I'll be rested and ready to go. Now, it's weird. It's a Sunday game. We don't have a lot of Sunday games. It's going to be at 3 p.m. at Pechanga. But that's also a pretty good time to have a game. It's not too late. You bring the kids.
For you, for sure.
For me, it's great. But and I think for, other parents and stuff like that, it's not late. It doesn't start at 7 o'clock on a Sunday night. You feel like you're going to get home by 6 o'clock and be ready to roll. So I'm excited about a 3 p.m. start on Sunday.
Have you seen Joe Ty lately?
I saw him when we did the retirement ceremony for Brody Merrill.
He's the owner of the Seals, also happens to own the Brooklyn Nets.
Yep.
Not having a good season in Brooklyn. That's tough. He's committed. He wants to bring a championship to the Seals in San Diego. He's put a lot. Seems like he always tries to get the best players every single year. And last year, the Seals had one big deficiency. Correct?
Yes.
They were one of the worst teams in the league.
Since we started, really. Since the team started. It was like the one glaring weakness you looked at and you said, face-offs. We don't win them. And when you control the ball, you have the chance to score. It just makes sense.
There's a lot of face-offs in lacrosse, too.
There's a ton.
After every goal.
Yep.
Start of every half, but pretty much after every goal. It's like you don't kick off to the other team. You get to face off at the middle again.
Yep. You can score a goal, win a face-off,
like
score
hockey,
a goal.
But in hockey, it changes hands more often. You get a full possession extra when you win a face-off.
And so when they went out and got this guy, Trevor Baptiste, I yelped because he's the best in the world. The best in the world.
And we will talk with Trevor Baptiste of the San Diego Seals right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
We've still got some scattered showers around parts of the county. In fact, we're getting dumped onto the Hillcrest area right now. Southbound 15 before Miramar Way, there's a solo vehicle accident in the HOV lane. Also traveling on the northbound 15 Carroll Canyon on-ramp, hit-and-run crash. South 5 coastline just past Birmingham. There's a collision involving a box truck. That's blocking one of the right lanes. Up ahead before the racetrack, crash being cleared out of the HOV lane. Just take it extra carefully out there, guys. Very slick in some parts of the county, and have those headlights on so you're more visible to other drivers. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And joining us right now in Ben and Woods is Seals transition player and the face-off specialist to end all face-off specialist in indoor box lacrosse. Trevor Baptiste is with us here on 97.3 The Fan. Trevor, good morning to you.
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Man, we're doing well. I'll see you Sunday. I'll be the one in the glass, beating on the glass, getting you guys hyped up. It's been such a pleasure to have you on the squad. And I was just telling the guys when they traded for you last year, I thought to myself, and I yelled out loud. I said, "This is the piece. This is the piece that we needed here in San Diego to win a championship." How's it been being here instead of Philly?
Oh, no, I appreciate that. It's been great. I think I really like the team. We really got a great group of guys, not only talent-wise, but also just from a personality standpoint. I think we really meshed together well. We're a team that really likes to spend time together, which I think is so important. I really love the coaching staff and organization. It's definitely different than Philly. Philly was, East Coast team, and Philly sports fans kind of get a little bit of a rap, but I've really enjoyed the city, and I feel embraced here, and the weather's really great, except for apparently these past 2 days. Apparently,
correct.
So I want to understand these face-offs. First of all, Trey, what's your career face-off win percentage? Do you know?
I don't know, man. I've taken so many face-offs. I try not to really keep track of that. I definitely want to let you ask the question.
He's very modest. Yeah, it's like
Very
over
modest.
75 to 80%. It's an
Which is
insanely high
insane.
percentage. Now, the mechanics are what interest me. Like in NBA, you got the opening tip, the referee throws the ball up, they jump, someone tips it. In hockey, they drop the puck, so the referee goes in, throws the puck in the middle, and they fight for it with their sticks. Now, in lacrosse, I've noticed the ball is just sitting there, and you guys are like face to face with the sticks and the arms on the ground. How exactly does it work? Explain to me the process of the face-off, Trevor.
Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, you kind of set it so the ball starts on the ground, then you put your sticks down kind of parallel to the midline with the ball on the line, and the ref basically says, down, puts you down in your stance, get your stick down, then he says set, and then blows a whistle, and then you just kind of all out go for it.
It is such a I'm right there. It's directly in front of me
Now,
when
sometimes
I'm in the
you
penalty
can
box.
try to pull it back toward you. Other
Yep.
times you push it away.
You can
There's
push.
different strategies on how to make it work.
You can flip to the guys behind you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's a melee. I mean, it is full on like a scrum.
And there's you can be
it's
you bump the
very
guy,
physical.
you're trying to knock him off his place while also trying to get the ball, and you're trying to it's like poker too. Like you're trying to read what your opponent's trying to do
Yeah.
at the same time, and he's trying to read what you're trying to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, like poker, like you said, even like a chess match in some ways, or even like a rock, paper, scissors, if he does this, I gotta do this, and obviously, it's really physical. It's a big physical piece of the game, which I really enjoy too.
You see teams, we're talking to Trevor Baptiste from the San Diego Seals here on Ben and Woods, and you see teams toward like the third quarter, the guy where he came out fired up and he was, I'm taking on Trevor Baptiste today. By the end of the third quarter, he's kind of half bending down and like, I don't want to get my ass kicked. He's going to win this thing anyway. I might as well spare myself.
No, just take it.
Just take it. Just take the thing. And it's been such a huge boost to our hometown Seals. And man, I've loved it. I've loved watching you guys in first place right now. You've beaten some really good teams. Lost some games you probably shouldn't have. I know that's how Coach Merrill and the rest of the guys are feeling. But got another big one this weekend. Rivalry game on Sunday. Tell us about what you guys are going to do to make sure. Let's make sure we take care of business on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big game. I think Colorado's a rival of ours.
Yep.
They've ended our season a couple times, so we beat them a couple weeks back in Colorado. I think that they're going to come back here pretty desperate for a win and being really hungry. So I think we just got to focus on us, and just keep looking to take those steps forward as a team and as a group, because we're on a little bit of a win streak, and I think if we play our game, we can beat anybody.
Now, last thing for me. So you're out there, you win those face-offs, and oftentimes then you just run right back off to the bench and then come back on. But sometimes you stay on. How do you ever decide how that's going to work?
Yeah, it's kind of just. I think a lot of things go into it, but mainly, if we don't win the face-off, playing defense, I usually always stay and play defense because, it's. I think it's this kind of part of being a transition player, and then also, it kind of depends on. I don't want to get too technical, but how far your change is. So, our benches are on one side of the floor. So if we have the long change and, if we're on offense and the shot clock's pretty low, then it's you might as well just stay and play,
okay.
in that case.
So do you almost never get to score a goal?
Well, he'll take some shots from time to time. Sometimes you'll win one and
quick shot,
a quick shot. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, yes, I think teams definitely do a good job of trying to prevent scoring off the face-off. But I think I'll put a couple in. I think I'll definitely put a couple in this year.
That's what every face-off specialist says. Every face-off specialist wants to score 10 goals a season. But, hey, man, you keep winning face-offs. Do whatever you want to do. It's been a delight to watch you. I'm so glad you're here. Want a championship so badly for the city, for the players. I love all the players. I love Coach Merrill. I love everybody in the organization. It has been such a treat for me the last 5 years to be a part of it, Trevor. And can't wait for Sunday, man. I'm gonna bring. He's got me fired up now. So I was feeling 80%. Now I'm at 100%, ready to jam on Sunday. So we really appreciate you.
Oh no, I appreciate you. No, it means a lot. And excited to see you guys this weekend. Let's go Seals.
Let's go Seals. Love it.
Trevor Baptiste.
Great
that
Trevor
was
Baptiste.
a fun conversation. I enjoyed that. It's weird because there are specialists in different sports. And I don't know. To me, I guess face-off guy, I'd combine it like fullback. Like you almost never touch the ball. Your job is basically clear the lane for the running back. But every once in a while, you get that opportunity. You're not the star, but you're essential out on the field.
He is a star in the world of lacrosse, a star. When the name comes down and you realize you got him on your team, you're like, oh my God. Like a closer.
Well, the analytics side of me can see how valuable
it's
it is.
so valuable.
Because if you're ever behind, let's say you're down 3 goals.
Which, by the way, in the NLL, you can be down 6 goals with 3 minutes left. You're like, we got plenty of time. No one panics. It's crazy
because
how
if you
fast.
go on a run and you score and he keeps winning the face-off, then you get another 30-second possession, you score again, face-off. You can stop the other team cold. They never even get to touch the ball if you keep winning face-offs.
In last week's game against Philly, they had a 7-goal lead with very little time left. Philly they score six goals in a row unanswered. And you end up hanging on by 1. But that's how quick you can go on a run. That's how a guy like Trevor Baptiste can help you. It's insane what he's capable of doing. So come out Sunday. Look forward to seeing you if you've never been. It is such a fun time. And stay tuned for some Ben and Woods Seals appearance coming up very soon. You guys are going to love this.
All right, a couple minutes left in the program today, Paulie. Are we ready to just get to it? All right, let's make everybody smile, especially me, with things Ben likes. I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like Saki. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like Science Experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores.
I like sugar.
I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. And I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right.
Yes.
I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversations.
Right.
I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like the big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake.
What is a cashew-buttered cashew?
It's like one of those Trader Joe's treats where they cover the cashew in cashew butter and its
cashew
own butter.
Feels.
You've never been covered in your own butter?
I've never been covered in my own butter. I bet I would be more delicious if I were. More fattening. I like cannelloni. This is so random. The stuff you talk about. I like Steph Curry. Murders me every time. I like Steph Curry.
And by the way, for everyone, well, what about all the new ones? Paulie has been collecting, and we will at some point debut round 3.
It's going to be 45 minute long.
By the time it's all done, we'll have an entire show worth of Ben's likes.
It never, ever ceases to make me laugh, and that is the main goal of the Ben and Woods program, my friends. Educate you a little bit, learn from you a lot, and try to make you laugh on a daily basis. That is it. I just got the text from my wife that just has ruined my day.
Oh, boy.
Says, I have bad news.
Oh, boy.
We have to go to Costco. And I said, why? Why do we? I was going to go home, spend some time alone, take a little nap.
I'll go to Costco. You go donate to my college.
Hi, I'm Ben's proxy.
He's at Costco for
He's
me.
at Costco with my wife, and I'm here to tell you, you're not getting a nickel from him. Thanks for the coffee and the bun, dear.
You're Matt Damon in Good Will.
Yeah. No, I'm
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck,
You're
yeah.
suspect. Yeah, you.
Hey, you got $20?
Heretofore. We should do a swap, actually. You go to Costco with Hannah. I'll go meet your lady for coffee.
Real quick.
But I'd end up donating $5,000.
Yes, that's
you
my
know
problem.
I would.
J-Man in the chat says, when is the tournament of drops? That will be happening next month.
Next
Stay
month.
tuned.
Yes, we're now a month away. Next week's our last week without Padres baseball, too. Annie and Elston with Sammy Levitt sitting in, coming up next year on 97.3 The Fan. Have a great weekend, everybody.